Transactions every day all over Chicagoland. NALawGroup.com.
Catch Toddcast with Todd Starnes on the Salem Podcast Network.
We have become addicted to all of this cheap crap coming from China. So now Donald Trump is finally saying, we've got to do something about it. We're not kicking the can down the road anymore. And this is what being a leader looks like. When you see what Donald Trump is doing right now in the country, this is leadership.
Subscribe to the Todd Starnes Podcast today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Honey, we're not moving, but we gotta do something about this kitchen.
Funny you mention it. I just stopped by Forever Remodeling's new showroom in Niles. I saw over a dozen kitchen and bathroom layouts they designed. They even offered to stop by the house and give us a free in-home design consultation.
What'd you tell them?
That we're free today?
Visit foreverremodeling.com today. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com. Forever Remodeling, stress-free and high-quality remodeling.
8 years. It has been 8 years since QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. Hi, Amy Jacobson here, and this is remarkable. Using regenerative cell therapy to restore tissue in your achy joints. These are biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joint. Listen, it's a powerful and potent way to give your joints the new life and repairing old tissue. Best part, there's no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. This is an all-natural option with lasting relief. Imagine doing all the things you enjoyed this summer without joint pain. Here's what I want you to do. Contact my good friends at QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation. You have nothing to lose. Saturday appointments available. The number to call is 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Right now, MyPillow is having 2 sales in one. The first is a closeout sale on Percale bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $25. That's right. You can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $25. 11 colors to choose from. When they're gone, they're gone. The second sale is a new energy drink called Rev 7, a premium energy drink that is actually good for you. It tastes great and gives you energy all day. Plus, it has no sugar, no caffeine, so you don't experience those jitters and crashes that we've all been through with the other energy drinks. What makes Rev 7 so special is that it's powered with a premium nootropic that helps fuel your mind and provides the most efficient and cleanest fuel ever. For a limited time, get an introductory 3-pack absolutely free. These amazing offers won't last long, so order now. Just go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201.
It's important to have a heating and cooling company you know you can depend on. That company is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They aren't one of those massive companies with newer techs and subcontractors. Oh no, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling send only their own highly skilled techs. From service to installation and everything in between, the work quality and customer service is the best. For 40 years, the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling has kept homeowners and business customers comfy and warm in the winter and nice and cool in the warmer months. Don't call the big guys, call the best. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit ArlingtonHeightsHeatingandCooling.net. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at ArlingtonHeightsHeatingandCooling.net. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
Come hungry to Scott Tucker Solutions Night at Portillo's, benefiting the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. Join us Thursday, May 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at Portillo's in Niles at 8832 West Dempster Street and use the cashier code Portillos20. The night's bill is on Scott Tucker, and you eating free Portillo's helps support the families of fallen and disabled Chicago police officers and their families via the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. Enjoy your favorites, hot dogs, Italian beef, and chocolate cake. Scott Tucker is picking up the check, and Portillo's is donating 20% of gross sales to the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. So bring your appetite to Scott Tucker Solutions Night at Portillo's. It's Thursday, May 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Portillo's in Niles at 8832 West Dempster Street. And make sure to use the cashier code Portillo's20. Eat well and come out and run up Scott Tucker's bill and support the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. We'll see you there. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
You've worked hard and accumulated wealth, but you know the pitfalls involved in passing significant assets to your heirs. The team at Spahn Financial will help you feel secure with personalized financial planning to achieve your legacy goals. They anticipate and manage all your wealth planning needs and focus on the full financial picture, including tax efficiency, income distribution throughout retirement, philanthropic giving, estate planning, and more. They even help you prepare the next generation to be good stewards. Kevin Spahn is a 2025 Barron's Top 1200 financial advisor, and Spahn Financial is a Forbes Best in State Wealth Management team. Visit SpahnFinancial.com to schedule a consultation and to view disclosures. That's SPAHN Financial.com. Barron's Top 1200 Financial Advisors List, March 2025. Data as of 9/30/2024. Forbes Best in State Wealth Management Team, January 2025. Data as of 3/31/24. No compensation provided for ratings. Marketing fees apply to promote ratings. Rankings and recognitions are no guarantee of future investment success.
There's a financial article that had this advice about spending money in retirement. Don't touch your Social Security until 70. Don't touch your 401k until 73. Don't touch your Roth IRA until everything else is gone. Okay, so what's missing? Well, you got to eat. Aren't we past the point of our lives when our mommy slaps our hands and says, don't touch that? That's not what you're going to hear when you call Alpha Wealth Group. You've worked hard to get where you are at this point in your life. It's time to enjoy yourself and your money. The complimentary discovery meeting will show you how to grow and protect money, how to reduce taxes, what to do about Social Security, and most importantly, how to build your monthly income so you can have confidence in your retirement and enjoy yourself. Call Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-864-6711 and ask for a complimentary discovery visit. You can also visit Alpha Wealth Group at alphawealthgroup.com, or you can call 630-864-6711.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Clouds and some sun, a severe thunderstorm late this afternoon. Breezy warm. We could see some downpours and damaging wind, even an isolated tornado. High today 89. Breezy this evening, a gusty thunderstorm, then some clearing tonight, low 62. A thunderstorm for tomorrow, the high 89. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, in our continuing effort to put a spotlight on the predators and perverts in the public schools.
You don't have to look too far in a classroom.
Minneapolis father took time out of work to attend a school board meeting. Good for him. And address the school board. I guess bringing something into the public arena that needs to be in the public arena that was something he was attempting to handle privately, but of course wasn't getting any satisfaction from the power structure union controlled in the Minneapolis public schools, which I'm sure is not dissimilar from the Chicago public schools. Listen to Dad's story about what happened to his kid in class.
Father of a third grader at Las Estrellas Elementary. Miss Director, I had emailed you. I had emailed the principal, the assistant principal, and the school social worker. My son, 2 weeks ago, was exposed to a group of, let's say, gay men having sex on the iPad. And how my son came about it was he forgot his laptop at home. And your teacher lent my son his personal iPad. Well, when my son was doing a project with some of the other kids in the classroom, all of a sudden they closed out a tab. There was a bunch of naked men sitting right there in front of my son. And then all the other kids that had seen this, hey, they were shocked. But what's crazy is that I haven't heard nothing since. I didn't get a response from our superintendent. I had a meeting with your guys' assistant superintendent, your guys' assistant principal. But nobody had the decency to make my son important enough to show up to that meeting in the morning to tell me why he was able to be exposed to this type of material. Now, I've heard about the situation that happened at your guys' high school, at North High School, with the teacher that was involved with sexually explicit material as well. To me, I don't care what team you bat for, but you guys got to quit putting all this stuff in front of these kids, all this sexual material, regardless if it's a flag or if it's them actually seeing the content on an electronic device that is in school. Now, I came to you guys last time arguing about security factors with the students about how they were roaming around. Now, dude, you guys literally I was told that you guys weren't going to inform the other parents in this classroom. Like, you guys will tell us if a student gets lice, if a student gets COVID, if he gets the flu, but you guys will not tell all the parents in the classroom that their kids were exposed to sexual explicit material. And I think that's weird.
I think it's weird, too. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. And by the way, I wouldn't want to tango with that guy if he got upset. That's a big dude. That's a big dad who was at the dais addressing the school board at that meeting.
And I love how his father, he's advocating for his son and all the other kids. But why would a teacher have that on their personal laptop and bring it to the school? Was it an accident, Dan, or maybe he wanted somebody to see it?
I forgot that's the laptop that has all my orgy videos on it. My bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, well, I'll take that away. I mean, there's just no sense of urgency, and he tried to get to the superintendent, and they gave him some assistants to talk to. I mean, this is gross.
I mean, for those who are always happy to point to the Catholic Church and the sex abuse scandal, we've made this comparison before. Does it sound familiar? Somebody is behaving badly or recklessly, and a parent wants answers from authorities within the institution, and they get stonewalled and ignored and misdirected. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Well, again, I talked about it, brought it up with respect to the newly minted Pope Leo XIV and questions that surround what he did while in positions of authority at various institutions where there was sexual misconduct and alleged sexual misconduct, both. So, this is everybody's fair game from my perspective on it. I just don't know why so many people just assiduously refuse to treat what happens in the government schools as just an endless series of one-offs. There's no sort of systemic cultural problem within government K through 12 education in this country. Despite the Shake Shaft report, despite the replication of the results of the Shake Shaft report, despite these stories that we talk about daily that are some are one-offs, one bad actor, and some are institutional bad actors that do exactly what that father said. That last piece of what you heard is so spot on. You'll tell all the parents about a kid has lice, and you'll tell all the parents that a kid has the flu, but you won't tell all the parents when you've got a teacher that has orgy videos on his iPad. And it wasn't any investigation that discovered it. It was because he was reckless enough to loan out his iPad with this sort of material on it, in addition to whatever else may be going on with that teacher.
Well, was the teacher arrested? Was he fired?
No teacher.
Suspended?
No teacher was arrested, and there's no indication that there's been any disciplinary action. I think this is why that father was at that meeting. Related story, meet former Teacher of the Year in California, Jacqueline Ma. Former California Teacher of the Year.
That's a huge accomplishment.
36, yeah, it's wonderful. 36-year-old teacher from San Diego, California. She has been sentenced to 30 years to life.
Oh, my.
I am deeply ashamed of my actions and the harm that I inflicted. I ripped away their childhoods. Instead of following the path of what a teacher should be, I let my selfishness override the boys' best interests. I'm so sorry.
Ma, who was named one of San Diego County's Teachers of the Year in 2022, was arrested in March of 2023 on allegations that she groomed two boys, aged 12 and 11 at the time of the abuse, and entered into a sexual relationship with one of them and tried to with the other.
Boys this age should be playing outside, feeling carefree, and enjoying their last few years of childhood. And instead, I thrusted them into adulthood.
Just another one-off. Tim Tebow. I know that's an odd segue, but it connects.
He's doing something good.
Yeah, Tim Tebow is involved in trying to eradicate cyber crimes, predation of children on the internet, and then the metastasization of that predation to in person. He was recently on the Sean Ryan podcast. Sean Ryan's a former Navy SEAL, has a popular podcast. And it was actually really useful because he has some very specific information that gives you a sense of scope here. Now, this is not limited to government schools, but one may ask when you hear Tim Tebow's data, the recitation of the data, gosh, I wonder what some of the cross-sections are. I wonder if there are particular centers of this nefarious activity that should be focused upon.
I brought a map to share with you. Is this map? Every red dot on that. So first of all, that is a DOJ law enforcement map. It's called the Red Dot Map. And this is over the last 30 days, and every red dot on that map is at least one unique IP address of individuals downloading, sharing, distributing child abuse and rape images under the age of 12. And there's over 111,000 of them just in the U.S. of the last 30 days. Wow. And I wanted to bring that because I think it brings to life so much of the evil that we're trying to face. And people will say, well, that's just over there and it's in those countries and it's all of those places. And it's not. Sean, it's right here in our backyard. It is right here, and out of everyone. And some people will say, okay, well they're just downloading and sharing it and distributing it, but they're not. 55 to 85% are also hands-on offenders, and your average offender has 13 victims in their lifetime. 13 victims. Every one of those red dots is there's a boy or girl that is suffering on the other end of what they're sharing, downloading, or distributing. And I wanted to share that with you because I know that your heart breaks for them. And I think that map brings to life the evil that we're trying to fight. And it's why, one of our hearts is to get the Renewed Hope Act passed through Congress, because it takes the law enforcement officers right now and victim identification officers at C3, and they're amazing. Some of my favorite people in the world, but there's 7 of them right now at C3.
There's how many?
7.
Seven people to
yes, and also ICACs are working on that. We love ICAC, and we need to enhance their funding because they desperately need it. Internet Crimes Against Children, and they're awesome. 62 locations around the country, but primarily the ones that are also working on this are at C3. And we want to get the Renewed Hope Act passed because it would take it from 7 to 200. And now we have a much greater chance if we have all of those officers that are trained and equipped to be fighting against this evil. And again, that's the last 30 days.
And that's not getting into live streaming or sextortion or grooming or so many of the other issues we're fighting. That is just in peer-to-peer networks of them sharing and distributing child rape images under the age of 12.
C3 that he referred to as the Cybercrime Center, which is within Homeland Security Investigations. I mean, it's very informative and obviously quite chilling data. And maybe that's what it will take. Maybe more law enforcement to investigate and clear more of these cases and bring more of these predators to justice, such that people start to actually pick up their heads and pay attention and realize there's something that is fundamentally structural and cultural that's going on within American society, and perhaps, it would stand to reason within our schools, where the kids are.
Yeah, because we have a local story, too, that I'd love to tell you about. And I actually called a local TV station. I was so infuriated.
I'll pick that up at 5:38.
Now let's head into the newsroom. Here's John Cruz.
Good morning. It's 63 degrees in Chicago on AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in for Nikki Whaley in the Dairy Queen newsroom. Potential severe storms for the afternoon across the area, including large hail, heavy downpours, and the possibility of tornadoes. A 4-year-old boy is in critical condition after being shot last night on the city's southwest side, and Chicago PD are still looking for the shooter. This happened around 7 p.m. near McKinley Park. That 4-year-old, a passenger in a minivan driven by a 23-year-old man. Police say an armed person in a vehicle driving behind them fired shots. The boy shot in the back, taken to the hospital in critical condition. Chicago Bears announcing their schedule for the upcoming season. The team unveiling several big matchups, including Week 1 against the Vikings, kicking off September 8th, and a Week 18 matchup with the Lions. An Edgewater man facing felony animal cruelty charges after a resident discovered a 6-month-old dog found with severe injuries. Surveillance footage led police to a 29-year-old Benjamin Wilkins, who now faces charges. The dog now with the foster family and doing much better. This report sponsored by Dairy Queen. Get big summer flavor in every bite with the new DQ Summer Blizzard treat menu. For a limited time right now at DQ. Happy tastes good at participating locations. Let's check out the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows, and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio every Sunday morning at 9. Presented by Lang Home Medical Equipment, Valdecast Windows and Doors, and by JeffBuysYourHouse.com. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about your home improvement. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
There's a financial article that had this advice about spending money in retirement. Don't touch your Social Security until 70. Don't touch your 401k until 73. Don't touch your Roth IRA until everything else is gone. Okay, so what's missing? Well, you got to eat. Aren't we past the point of our lives when our mommy slaps our hands and says, don't touch that? That's not what you're going to hear when you call Alpha Wealth Group. You've worked hard to get where you are at this point in your life. It's time to enjoy yourself and your money. The complimentary discovery meeting will show you how to grow and protect money, how to reduce taxes, what to do about Social Security, and most importantly, how to build your monthly income so you can have confidence in your retirement and enjoy yourself. Call Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-864-6711 and ask for a complimentary discovery visit. You can also visit Alpha Wealth Group at alphawealthgroup.com, or you can call 630-864-6711.
Spring is here. It's time to get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather in a brand new scooter from Mars Medical in New Lenox. Come see and test drive their full collection of new and used power mobility devices for sale. Mars Medical carries full and travel size scooters from Pride Mobility and Golden Technologies. Inventory is moving out daily, so don't hesitate to pick out your new scooter today. And don't forget, Mars Medical also has lightweight and compact transport wheelchairs available for sale or rental use for those day trips to the zoo or to the park. Some units weigh as little as 19 pounds. Or improve your outdoor activities this spring with a Rollator walker. Mars Medical has over 7 models of Rollator walkers on the floor for purchase. Make this spring one to remember on the north side of Route 30 between Cedar and Vine Road in New Lenox. Or go to marsmedicalsupply.com. Mars Medical, customer care that is out of this world.
Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. Find Active Liver at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Clouds and sun, severe thunderstorm today. We could see some downpours and damaging wind. Isolated tornado, high 89. A gusty thunderstorm this evening, then some clearing, low 62. Windy and warm, sun and clouds. A thunderstorm tomorrow, the high 89. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy were talking about, basically predators and perverts in the public schools and society in general. Not a fun topic, but it's one that needs to be addressed. Per the work of, for example, Tim Tebow. Don't just take it from me, take it from a Heisman Trophy winner. Tebow talking about 101,000 downloads in the last 30 days on the Sean Ryan podcast. 101,000 downloads of unique, 101,000 unique ISP addresses of child rape, torture, imagery of kids under the age of 12. And yet the cyber crimes unit at the federal level has 7 investigators.
You do the math on that one. That's not good. Well, there's a former volunteer assistant wrestling coach from Deerfield High School who was recently picked up by the McHenry County Sheriff's Office. BBM Radio, and this is why I called him, said that he had images that he recorded of child abuse. And I'm thinking, wow, recorded, driving in, listening, going, what? Recorded child abuse? Well, that sounds like child porn. And it was child porn. So I called them and left a message and said, that's child porn. There's recorded child abuse. These kids, he had video, according to police, images depicting sexual assault, rape of children younger than 13. He's due back in court today. But I mean, but this is how they start normalizing things. And then it's MAPS, men attracted to minor persons.
Minor attracted persons.
Yeah, MAPS, excuse me, minor attracted persons.
Well,
and that's what they're going to do.
The wrestling coach in Deerfield is facing 10 felony counts of possession of child porn, so the prosecutors are pretty clear on what was in his possession.
Right. But why didn't the media, they had the police report there. Why would they say it was, he recorded child abuse?
Well, I who knows? I mean, they're dumb. They're
call them out.
They're MAPS. I don't know. I don't know what's going on at these news outlets. They're all pathetic, basically. I mean, the fact that I'm talking about putting a spotlight on something as systemic as the child abuse of child predation that goes on in government schools speaks to it. I mean, I'll give credit where credit is due. The Tribune did that expose about CPS a few years ago, and there have been some updates to that subsequent years. The number of complaints that are considered credible by Chicago's own legal department of child sexual abuse within the Chicago public school system, just to name but one, because I'm talking about this system-wide, nationwide. And it's not limited, of course, to government schools. But when you have 50 million kids going to very, very similar institutions controlled by very similar people, and you have this very similar problem, then maybe it needs to be raised in terms of profile and response. Mary, Midway.
Oh, hi. This may be apropos of nothing because, I just don't know, but haha. I wonder if this ever happened to Amy. I had situations where I had to go to Chicago public schools for certain things. And this was many years ago. I mean, to me, I'm so naive. I think of America a certain way, and I didn't know what to think of this. There were so many classrooms, in fact, even the school swimming pools, where there was black construction paper on all the windows to such a point I'm like, well, can't I kind of stick my big nose in there, get a little glimpse with my eye? Because one of these at the public school time, I'd like to use this pool. Does it have water in it? Blacked off with black construction paper. Again, a lot of the classrooms, it probably means nothing. But I used to think, what's the point of a window if they're putting black construction paper over these windows in classrooms and Chicago public swimming pools? Did you ever see this, Amy?
No, I never ever saw
you're
that.
a rich suburbanite, maybe.
No, I'm not a rich.
No,
I'm not a rich suburbanite. I go to probably the worst performing Chicago public schools as a coach. I did in the city. I've been to. I can't imagine one school I haven't been to, and I also was a substitute teacher back in 1996 when I worked part-time at Channel 5. But no, I've never seen blacked out
there.
windows.
It's not to be seen.
Paper.
That's the whole point of a window.
Yeah, we don't know, but okay. Thanks for the call, Mary. We do know there's a problem there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what subject did you substitute teach?
Oh, whatever they needed. I
Really?
hooked up with Farragut a lot because the principal and I got along. So the days I was off at Channel 5, he said, "Don't call in, just come in and we'll put you." I was history once.
You taught history.
I was a substitute teacher. They left a lesson plan. We hope. I did gym class. I was a PE teacher, math, whatever they needed.
You taught math.
Yes, Dan, I taught math.
Did you have?
And
Kevin
it was
Garnett
Common Core, so I had to explain why. No, I didn't explain.
Did you have Kevin Garnett or Ronnie Fields in your
No,
class?
they were already gone. But they were, but Farragut. I mean, all those schools now, there's no students there. There were thousands used to be there.
George in Naperville.
Dan, what about teacher evaluations, age appropriate, that maybe hint on some of these things or that could give clues to possibly bad actors in these institutions?
Well, thanks for the call. I mean, I don't know if you need to institute, kid or student evaluations of teachers. You do sort of have that at the collegiate level. I guess in high school, it's within the realm of possibility. But I mean, does that capture it? An annual evaluation as opposed to identifying somebody who has done something wrong in real time and communicating to mom or dad, and mom or dad communicating to the school and or other mom and dads, just like you had this Minneapolis father go to the school board meeting when he tried to address the issue that occurred with his son privately, and nobody was responsive. So, okay, let's make it public. And not to mention, he raises the point that the policy should be, if an incident like that happens, parents are informed the same way that parents are informed, as that father nicely pointed out, the same way parents are informed when a kid in their kid's class has lice or a kid in their kid's class has the flu. It's safety. It's very interesting. It's safetyism, erring on the side of safetyism for almost everything under the sun except sexual abuse of children.
I know. I mean, if there was anything, any safety issue outside the school, police might have arrested somebody a few blocks away from Blaine. We got notices right away. Like, there's some police activity. It does not involve the school. Everyone's safe. Boom, done.
And
this could have, but they could have sent them a letter home. They could have sent an email out right away that we had this unfortunate situation. This is what happened, and this is what we're going to do about it.
And what about the teachers and administrators? They don't know each other? They don't know if somebody is giving off a bit of a creepster vibe? I suspect there's a lot of willful blindness going on, too, regardless of their sort of legal reporting requirements.
Well, maybe he was watching it during his lunch hour.
I'm not talking about that specific case. I'm talking about generally, because this is a general problem. Joe in Hoffman Estates.
Hey, good morning, guys. Amy, I'm sure you were a great teacher. If they have the IP address of these perverts, why are they not busting them or rounding them up quicker? It would seem easy to find them, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm not a cyber crimes tech expert. Thanks for the call, Joe. I know you can, these guys that are downloading what they know, most of them, I assume, if not all of them, know is illegal material. I mean, you can, route your digital footprint in such a way that it's not just so obvious to track down the responsible party, I suppose. But the point that Tim Tebow is making, the experts that are there in that cyber crimes unit, there's 7 of them.
That's not enough.
And so even if you're very well versed on how people try to mask their identities online when they're engaged in illicit activity, I mean, you still have to have the personnel to build the evidentiary cases, to make arrests and turn it over to prosecutors. That's the process. Maurice in Berwyn.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Hey, one, I think child pornography is a very niche, that's a very upper-class, white-collar crime.
Not always.
I would think statistically...
I disagree.
I think you're not going to talk about your lower class individual who is kind of pursuing that. I think statistically, the guys who are busted for it, because that's such a federal crime, statistically they fit a certain demographic. And second thing, Amy, I'm gonna give you shouts out, man. You were the Farragut. That's a tough school. So
Austin was worse. Austin was the worst high school ever. I had to press that panic button all the time.
You know how I know Austin's the worst school? That was my high school.
Oh,
really?
Did I have you in class?
No, maybe you did, my dear.
Did you? I was going to ask you, Maurice, if you ruled the roost at Austin, but then you used the phrase "my dear," and so I doubt that doesn't really fit. How was your experience at Austin?
Oh my gosh, I went there. Started as a freshman in 1989 with a class of 1,100 kids. I graduated in 1993 with 50 people.
Really?
Close. My second point. Oh, it closed for a while, reopened, but currently it has a 10% occupancy rate. Most of these CPS schools aren't fully utilized, and it's a wild, wild west. Who knows what these teachers, if you're a bad actor per se, and you want to molest, God forbid, you want to molest a kid, these schools are half empty.
Yes.
There's nobody at Austin currently. I think Austin is 10% occupied. Austin's a garbage school. I'm lucky to survive.
Well, you know what I noticed? All the girls had, with their student ID on it, on the back of it, they had their babies' pictures, and there was a nursery there that had 50-plus kids.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
At the time I went, we didn't have a nursery there. Briefly, I'll tell you this. At one point, it had been an all-white school, and years ago, because I was in ROTC, one of the old alumni had came there for a visit, and he was an old white guy. He walked around like, wow, this school has changed.
It's a little bit different, yeah.
By far. But yeah, that's unfortunate. So with these schools being half empty, who knows what's going on? That's why some of these schools should close in Chicago and combine into a whole different discussion.
Absolutely. But I mean, this is a little bit off topic, but before we let you go, so what do you credit for making your way out of Austin and into, being the successful professional you are?
Oh, gosh, being a nerd. And that's being a nerd and no one's being a nerd.
Celebrate it.
And here's the thing. I was nerdy. I existed in the time before social media, and no one liked me, but I had my group of black nerds. I tell people all the time, read the Big Bang Theory, so no one televised it.
You were Urkel before Urkel?
Yeah, I read comic books and watched what we called back then Japan animation. And they had strict parents who weren't playing that.
Strict parents, there you said it. You had strict parents.
All right. Thanks for the call, Maurice. I know this is your workout time. We've mentioned this before. I try to keep track of all of our listeners' schedules to be respectful of their time.
Get back on the Eclipse.
Boy, interesting. Nerd, strict parents, success.
Wow.
Interesting. Craig Mount Greenwood. Weren't you a teacher?
Oh, what's that?
Weren't you a teacher for a time?
Yeah, I'm an adjunct instructor with College of Page. I was with Moraine Valley Community College.
Did you teach in CPS?
No.
Okay.
No, just college level.
What do you call College of DuPage again, Dan?
UCLA, the university closest to the Lombard area.
Never gets old.
All right, Craig, go ahead.
I don't think it's much of a one-off because you hear more and more, and there's a lot of it. But what do you call it, anti-American left that's taken over the school, system a long time ago. And these are a bunch of perverts and, people that are real destructive to kids in it. So on the other point, I don't think there's much of it being an accident either. I think a lot of it's intentional, and it's perverted people doing this to the kids. And there's a lot more of it, and a lot more than really the American public knows about.
Well, thanks for the call, Craig. Well, that's right. Or maybe that the public, as we've mentioned before on this topic, is ready to confront because they are so vested in this idea about their local school that they have that they refuse to process any information that would dispel this image of the local school that they have and that they cling to. There's that part of it that feeds the willful blindness, I'm afraid. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage.
Right now, MyPillow is having 2 sales in 1. The first is a closeout sale on Percale bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $25. That's right. You can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $25. 11 colors to choose from. When they're gone, they're gone. The second sale is a new energy drink called Rev 7, a premium energy drink that is actually good for you. It tastes great and gives you energy all day. Plus, it has no sugar, no caffeine, so you don't experience those jitters and crashes that we've all been through with the other energy drinks. What makes Rev 7 so special is that it's powered with a premium nootropic that helps fuel your mind and provides the most efficient and cleanest fuel ever. For a limited time, get an introductory 3-pack absolutely free. These amazing offers won't last long, so order now. Just go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201.
Hi there, it's Chris Stigall. Do you know that more than 200 members of Congress are standing up for AM radio listeners right now? The AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act will keep AM radio in cars because when cell and internet services are down, this free service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 39179 and tell Congress to pass this critical legislation right now. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
Come on with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with QuickDelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
Enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock, all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer on Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now at danandamy247.com. AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Talking about children's health now, separate and distinct. RFK Jr. had sort of a moment at a House hearing yesterday talking about the forthcoming dietary guidelines he will be promulgating from the Department of Health and Human Services.
He's my new hero. I watched
And
a
this
lot
was
of
against
that
the
hearing.
backdrop of one of those knuckleheads that founded Ben and Jerry's creating a whole scene screaming about Gaza or something and having to be yanked out of the room by Capitol Police.
Was it him or was it Bernie Sanders? Because a lot of people look like that in Vermont.
No, it was Ben Cohen.
Okay.
He had a meltdown.
Oh, let's create
We
it.
are about to reissue the dietary guidelines. We're going to do it very quickly. We have until January, but we're going to do it. I think we'll have it done even before August. And we took the Biden guidelines, which were 453 pages long and were clearly written by industry, that are incomprehensible, driven by the same industry capture and those kind of carnal impulses that put Fruit Loops at the top of the food pyramid.
Or not.
And we are changing that. So we're going to have 4-page dietary guidelines that tell people essentially eat whole food, eat the food that's good for you. That's going to drive changes in the school lunch programs. And we're going to need your help to make sure we can get good school lunches to Head Start. I've been touring these Head Start facilities. Everything they eat is in a package, and it is just loaded with sugar and with chemicals. We're poisoning this generation, 800,000 kids, the poorest kids in our country, and we're starting them out with this count against them, with diabetes, pre-diabetes. 38% of our youth now are diabetic or pre-diabetic. That was 0 when I was a kid. Anybody thinks that we did gold standard medicine in this country from these institutions, look at our children. They're the sickest children in the world. Laura, you say that excuse me, Congressman DeLauro, you say that you've worked for 20 years on getting food dye out. Give me credit. I got it out in 100 days.
I'll give you that credit.
All right, so let's work together and do something that we all believe in, which is have healthy kids in our country, for God's sake.
Miss Dean.
I love the Rose DeLauro call out too, because if you've forgotten, check your scorecards. Rose DeLauro is that octogenarian hippie with the purple hair from Connecticut, who looks like Gargamel from the Smurfs.
Yeah, but I love too, because later on he said, our kids aren't Republicans or Democrats; they're all of our children, and they need help.
Yeah.
So good for him. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hands Across Chicagoland's just 3 days away. We'll have all the details at 6:06.
It is now 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Trump with the troops. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
My trip is 4.5 days, but this is the one I was so looking forward because I'm with the people that I really love and respect.
President Trump addressing Americans at the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar.
And as your commander-in-chief, I'm here to say that America's military will soon be bigger, better, stronger, and more powerful than ever before.
The president talked to the troops for about 50 minutes, wrapping up about a half hour ago as he gets ready to go to the last stop on his trip to the United Arab Emirates. The president expects to get more investments there into the U.S. and American companies, saying more than $1 trillion will come in on this trip, saying at a breakfast in Qatar.
It could amount to 2 million, 3 million, maybe even 4 million jobs in the United States. And more importantly, it's really important stuff. It's tremendous refining capabilities. It's capabilities for very high-end. AI is a big subject.
The president also says he thinks we're closer to a nuclear deal with Iran, warning again of violent military action if necessary to stop Iran from building nuclear weapons. President Trump hinted earlier in the week he might go to Turkey today, where Ukraine's president arrived a short time ago for ceasefire talks with Russia, but its leader, Vladimir Putin, is apparently not going to show up.
I wasn't planning to. I would go, but I wasn't planning to go. And I said, I don't think he's going to go if I don't go. And that's turned out to be right.
Russia has instead sent a lower-level delegation as Secretary of State Marco Rubio is also in Turkey for separate NATO talks, also discussing the Russia-Ukraine war as Israel once again takes aim at Hamas in Gaza.
The main target of Israeli airstrikes last night appeared to be the southern city of Khan Yunis. 10 airstrikes reported in the second consecutive night of heavy bombing. More than 50 people said by local medical officials to be dead. One was a journalist working for a Qatari TV station, along with 11 members of his family.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. There's a big deal in retail. Dick's Sporting Goods is going to buy Foot Locker for $2.4 billion. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning, 63 degrees in Chicago and AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the AlmostFreeTeeth.com newsroom. Dense fog advisory for our northern areas. Partly cloudy much of today, but a stormy afternoon possible. A 70-year-old man is still in ICU this morning after being hit by an SUV on a golf course. Eyewitness video captured that SUV barreling down the fairway of Billy Caldwell Golf Course on Monday. That's when the SUV struck the golfer. Police caught up with the driver, identified as 30-year-old Torrey Gardner, who got out and wielded a knife towards them. Gardner arrested, facing multiple charges. That victim recovering in the intensive care unit at an Evanston hospital. A 4-year-old boy fighting for his life after being injured in a McKinley Park shooting. According to Chicago police, that boy in a minivan traveling along South Ashland just after 7 last night when a vehicle behind the van started shooting. That vehicle sped away. The toddler shot in the back, rushed to a hospital. He is still listed in critical condition. Chicago PD still looking for the suspect. A Chicago family speaking out after a Tuesday fire leaves a disabled 19-year-old woman dead. The family of Selena Sareth says she lived with cerebral palsy. CFD said the fire started just before 1:30 Tuesday afternoon at a North Park residential building along North Bernard Street. Now, the flames sparking in the front living room before quickly spreading. A nurse and the woman's father got out safely with minor injuries. The family is still waiting for answers from that nurse's employer regarding safety training. To catch a speeder, Chicago Department of Transportation setting up speed cameras in several neighborhoods over the summer. It's part of the city's Complete Streets program. 7 cameras started serving up warnings on May 1st. Now, speeders will start getting tickets on June 15th. Now, some of those locations include Greenbrier Park, Edgewood Park, Lincoln Park, Rosedale Park, and around several high schools. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Making smiles great again. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock, all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer on Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now at danandamy247.com.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. I've added another burner to my very large collection of defense products. Why? Because Burner just launched their new compact launcher, the smallest, most compact launcher to date, and I'll be taking it with me everywhere I go. It's the same size as a smartphone, allowing you to conceal carry comfortably and with confidence. It fires 400 feet per second with 41 joules per square inch of stopping power. The size is perfect for women who want protection but can't carry a firearm. It's equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammunition. It's designed to incapacitate an attacker for 30 to 40 minutes. And Burner is legal in all 50 states. There's no background check required. It can be shipped directly to your door. And Burner is trusted by hundreds of police departments and government agencies worldwide. And Burner is proudly American, each unit hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Visit byrna.com today, or you can simply try before you buy by finding a Burner dealer and a partner near you. That's byrna.com.
Come on with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with QuickDelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
Come hungry to Scott Tucker Solutions Night at Portillo's, benefiting the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. Join us Thursday, May 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at Portillo's in Niles at 8832 West Dempster Street and use the cashier code Portillo's20. The night's bill is on Scott Tucker, and you eating free Portillo's helps support the families of fallen and disabled Chicago police officers and their families via the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. Enjoy your favorites: hot dogs, Italian beef, and chocolate cake. Scott Tucker is picking up the check, and Portillo's is donating 20% of gross sales to the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. So bring your appetite to Scott Tucker Solutions Night at Portillo's. It's Thursday, May 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Portillo's in Niles at 8832 West Dempster Street. And make sure to use the cashier code Portillo's20. Eat well and come out and run up Scott Tucker's bill and support the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. We'll see you there. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
Already some slow spots on the outbound Kennedy this morning. 25 minutes already between the Byrne interchange and Montrose. About 15 of those coming between Ontario and Addison as you leave the loop. And then there's a crash being cleared up as you approach O'Hare that's got the right lane blocked. That should be gone fairly quickly. Outbound Eisenhower doesn't look too bad. Inbound maybe a brake tap around Manheim, but otherwise only about 15 minutes in from Wolf to the post office. Stevenson doesn't look terrible, although there is a slowdown between First Avenue and Kedzie, and that's making it about a 25-minute drive now from the Tri-State into Lakeshore Drive. Outbound looks fine, and the inbound Dan Ryan's maybe got a brake tap right around 95th Street, but otherwise that doesn't look too bad on your way into the loop either. From 95th up to the Byrne Circle interchange should cost you about 17 minutes. Traffic is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Brian White.
Clouds and some sun, a severe thunderstorm late this afternoon. Breezy warm. We could see some downpours and damaging wind, even an isolated tornado. High today 89. Breezy this evening, a gusty thunderstorm, then some clearing tonight, low 62. A thunderstorm for tomorrow, the high 89. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So give us a call. Tell us where you're going to be and what your sign is going to say when you participate in the Hands Across Chicagoland protest that takes place this Sunday.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also text us on that line. What's my sign going to say? What am I holding hands for?
Hands Across Chicagoland, not the greatest movement in furtherance of a better tomorrow for Illinois, America, the world. Hands Across Chicagoland this Sunday, noon to 2 p.m.
Sure, my church will be there.
Protesters will line up on sidewalks stretching 30 miles from Aurora to Chicago's Little Village neighborhood. Reed McCollum's the chairwoman of the DuPage County Marxist Party, organizer of the event. The line will be unbroken with protester every 5 to 20 feet, they hope, except for where there are no sidewalks. Then they'll just suspend themselves in the air on their good intentions.
Walk
over
on
the
water
road.
like Jesus. Yes.
Protesting mass deportations.
Oh, yeah.
This grew out of the Tesla protests. Like a seed was planted, and now it has blossomed into Hands Across Chicagoland.
So we're going to see a bunch of old white hair people there.
Yeah, a lot of angry broads. Somebody had an idea, said the head of the Marxist Party in DuPage County. Now the majority party, at least in terms of control. I don't think it actually in terms of opinion, but I digress. One of the women leaders out here, she was like, why don't we do a chain from the one in Downers Grove all the way out to the one in Lisle or Naperville? It's 7 miles. She was like, and I was like, that's ambitious. That was right when Abrego Garcia, they wouldn't try to get him back, and they were sending people to foreign prisons. I don't know if doing something between Teslas is really where a lot of people are at right now. We need to ramp it up. So they're ramping it up with Hands Across Chicagoland. Oh, that's 30 miles. They're covering a lot of terrain.
I think it's going to stretch even a little bit longer with other churches on the north side that are going to be participating.
Well, sure.
We'll take it from Little Village, I'm sure, all the way up to Uptown.
Well, your church, the Episcopal Church, they don't have to worry about getting involved. Not that anybody asked them. This is what's so funny about this. We didn't ask you, but okay. One of your bishops there, Sean Rowe, yeah, helping, as you said yesterday, helping honkies, that's not part of our charter.
We don't do that.
We can't be ourselves in the Episcopal Church and take the step of resettling white Afrikaners from South Africa. Our church has a long commitment to racial justice and reconciliation, and we have historic ties with the Anglican Church of South Africa. Desmond Tutu is a part of, been a partner in this work for us. So we're just not able to take this step. It's not in line with anything that we're about.
No one asked you. We don't need the Episcopal Church's help to resettle 4 families from South Africa. But it is worth noting that, opposing the murder of farmers and the nationalization of their property, that's not something the Episcopal Church can be part of, according to that bishop.
It's unbelievable. I can't wait to go to church on Sunday. We'll help everybody except for white people who are being murdered for their land.
You better go to the early mass so you can get out to Hands Across Chicagoland in time for the thrust of it. Do they call it mass? Early rally? What do they call these
protests?
No, the alleged religious services at your that cult you go to. They don't call it mass.
It's 8 church service. We have an 8, 9, and an 11.
Protest?
Church service. And then there's a call to arms. Collective? And then they go and march.
Yeah, I bet there's a call to arms.
Every weekend there's some social justice warrior up there saying, today at 3 o'clock we're going to meet. We're going to go ask for affordable housing. Who's with me?
Yeah.
And it's like, fine, go. If you want to do that, go ahead.
Absolutely. Indivisible West Suburban Chicago is getting the word out, and we got some color for some residents. See if this sounds like you or one of your neighbors. Dave Terrazino, he grew up in Riverside and has lived in Brookfield for 20 years. He plans to be a link in the human chain. It's important for everyone to have a voice one way or the other, to protest, to resist what's happening at the federal level. Since Trump has been elected the last 100 days or so, we've really seen the 3 C's: chaos, corruption, and incompetence. Oh, Indivisible West Suburban Chicago is also passing out the DNC talking points so people like Mr. Terrazino know what to say. Isn't that cute? John Platts, another Brookfield resident, plans to attend the protest. I think it's very critical that we see ourselves as a whole rather than let anybody try to separate us or try to scapegoat one single group of people living here in America. I think Hands Across Chicagoland is one more step in terms of stating a togetherness. What to do with the Terrazinos and the Platts of Chicagoland?
Dan and Amy, I refuse to be lectured about racism by someone who hates white people.
Well, then you're not going to be very welcome in the Episcopal Church. More Terrazino. I took a major hit on savings that was a lifetime accumulation, and I've seen that drop by somewhere between 10 and 15%, just poof, gone. Terrazino's retired, so he's drawing off his retirement account. So that's not possible, what he's saying. But it doesn't matter. I get it. Everything seems to be okay with Social Security payouts because I was already in the system for a couple years now. That seems okay. But yes, I'm absolutely worried that they're going to try and privatize this, and God only knows what will happen when and if that happens. By the way, if you want to abide the strictures of the protest, please do wear black. Wear black, make a sign, line up between, I don't know, on Ogden Avenue somewhere in the Western Burbs, somewhere between Aurora and Little Village, you'll find your comrades. McCollum, the DuPage County Marxist Party head, said he estimates about 10,000 people will attend the protest, though the actual attendance could be higher or lower. Great reporting. Could it? This is state-run media, of course, reporting on this. You get. This is NPR, one side. NPR, that, you know, Maher is the head of it, and she doesn't see any partisan. No, there's no political, there's no partisan lens through which we cover the news and so forth. No, of course not. Yep, this is, they're working off the 3.5% rule. You know what the 3.5% rule is? That if a movement is able to mobilize 3.5% of the population, then change occurs. You know, which is actually not inaccurate. It's always the committed few that change history for good or for bad. I'll let you decide whether Mr. McCollum, the head of the Marxist Party in DuPage County, and Mr. Terracino and Platt are working to change history for the better or worse. Paul in Effingham, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, how you doing? My sign's gonna say how many people got killed in Kiev this year? 9. In Chicago, 128. Where is real war?
Okay, thanks for the couple. I don't think you're going to be very popular at the protest, but okay.
About that. Stay away from the Episcopalians.
Roger, Southside.
Hello. I'm just wondering, is this human chain, Dan? Are they going to be like on the sidewalks or parkways or in the street?
They said they'll be on the sidewalks. I don't think it's literally going to be the Hands Across America where you're holding hands. I think it's just going to be 5 to. I'm just going by the head of the Marxist Party in DuPage County, 5 to 20 feet apart, and then where they're not sidewalks, I don't know. Maybe they'll do a die-in or something to block traffic. I don't know exactly what they'll do, but that's the plan. You know, it's spontaneous order. No, it's not. These are central planners. Yeah, so that's what they're going to do. I assume what they said, and if some people get killed in the process, then that's just the price of doing business.
Right. Can we hope that the next second and third ones will be like in some of the disadvantaged areas, like Chicago's West Side, maybe South Side, Inglewood, you know, anywhere? Maybe the next couple will be there. Maybe down by the Obama Library. You never know.
It's never going to be built.
Thanks for the call, Roger. Tony, Riverside.
Good morning. First of all, the guy said the 3 C's: chaos, corruption, and incompetence. Incompetence begins with an I. Just saying.
Yeah.
Surprised you didn't touch that, Dan.
Yeah.
There are those of us, though, from this area that are going to, like, don our patriotic clothing and probably Trump hat and bring a lawn chair and sit and observe on Sunday along Ogden Avenue.
Oh, okay. All right. So there's
Yeah,
a counter presence will be there.
Of course, yes, indeed.
Oh, very good. All right. Thanks for the call. You might want to wear, like, spit guards and things like that. These people tend to get a little obstreperous when they run into somebody who doesn't agree with them. So, they start frothing at the mouth, spitting, screeching, so forth. Yeah, there'll probably be a protest song or two.
Oh no, not that again. People will be bussed in from somewhere. We don't know where. We don't know who's funding it. Signs will already be pre-made.
Eric, Rolling Meadows.
Hey, good morning, guys. How about a sign that says, "Where's all the white women at?"
Thanks for the
That
call,
actually
Eric.
would be humorous.
They'll be right. Yeah, they'll be right there, of course.
Yeah. Where all the young white women at? That might be better.
I bet it's going to be mainly your middle-aged Herodins, if they can pull themselves away from the walkout going on of Starbucks baristas.
Well, they have a dress code now, Dan, and people aren't happy about it.
Well, I know. And so, I mean, so there's a, like, if I was a Hinsdale housewife, I would have to be like really scheduling my time this weekend because I gotta go stand in solidarity with my barista downtown Hinsdale. Then I got to get out to Ogden Avenue to be in this Hands Across Chicagoland thing. I mean, it's a busy schedule. It's a busy day, and and obviously I need to be at Fuller's or someplace like that to have Chardonnay by 3:00 with the girls like normal.
You don't want to miss the brunch specials.
Well. Brian, St. John, Indiana.
Hey, my sign's going to say, capitalism makes, socialism takes. That's all I got.
All right, Brian.
I couldn't hear him.
Capitalism makes, socialism takes.
Ah, okay. Creative.
Dan and Lyle.
Hey, good morning, guys. Dan from Earthworks in Lyle. Hey, it just so happens my business is right along on Ogden Avenue.
Yeah.
And I've got this beautiful patriotic stage I'm going to set up, and I think we're going to have to put together a party that morning if anyone would like to participate.
All right, what time and where?
And anyone else? 2111 Ogden Avenue in Lyle.
Really? Are you going to have like a Bloody Mary bar and other amenities?
We're going to do it all. We're going to set up our new patriotic stage, and if we can, anyone wants to participate, they'd come along and have some fun with us.
All right, Earthworks, the address
Celebrate
again?
America. 2111 Ogden Avenue.
All right, Dan at Earthworks, 2111 Ogden Avenue.
In Lyle.
The counter presence.
And what time is their protest supposed to begin?
12. Noon to 2. Noon to 2 is theirs.
Oh, yeah. They don't want to get up too early.
No.
Sounds like a good start.
Well, they have to go to church first, right? That's what I figured.
We got to ease into the day. Yeah, there's no question.
Right. We got to wake up. We got to, yeah.
Well, I'm not going to call it a counter protest because
come and join it.
It's but that's
no. It's a celebration.
Exactly.
Of America for us.
Exactly. It's like a counter presence. It's just to celebrate and enjoy the day. Thanks for the call, Dan.
It's united prayer and positive community presence.
Yeah. But whether they're praying to Baal or someone we recognize as God, I'm not certain.
Yeah.
It is interesting because as mentioned before, I don't know. I don't care if they get 10 or 10,000 people. Their position is not the majority position. And it's unfortunate that there's no more organized opposition at the political party level in Illinois. But it's just not. And you see, it's not just two-tier Keir Starmer that is doing an about-face on immigration. It is Jelly Belly, who did not include money for health care for people in this country illegally residing in Illinois in his budget. And you have some sanctuary legislators trying to find some scratch to continue to provide that. Even though Jelly Belly is a complete proponent of it. Why are they moving? Because we don't have the money? No. They're positioning. Jelly Belly is positioning, walking away quietly from his previous position. So is Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom
is now a conservative Democrat or something.
He's
labeling himself that.
Gavin Newsom is doing the same thing. Walking away from, he's going to call for a scaling back of health care for undocumented immigrants to help balance the budget. Meanwhile, they're walking away from their positions. Meanwhile, they've got their attorneys general suing the federal government, saying you're holding up federal funds because we disagree on immigration, and so. Just to muddy the waters. We've got this budget crunch, or we can't provide this coverage for people in this country illegally, undocumented immigrants, they would call them, because of Trump. But make no mistake, they are walking away from the radical open borders, sanctuary policies that they have vociferously supported to this point, because they recognize that is a significant Achilles heel. Don't let them get away with it. And the way you don't let them get away with it is by at least spreading that word. And maybe at some point in places like California and Illinois, you'll have a opposition political party that decides to organize itself, put together some decent candidates and the necessary financing, and actually make the conservative reform arguments for a change, and see if that works. See if the one thing, as I've said ad nauseum, the one thing that hasn't been tried, cycle after cycle, see if that might work. Jim in LaGrange.
Dan and Amy, will that great American freedom fighter Jan Schakowsky be participating, singing her famous chant, the stupid "Which side are you on"? I just want to know.
I'm going to sing it all day.
Thanks for the call, Jim.
I know. Is she woken up from her committee hearing yet? She and
all the Sleeping Beauties. Yeah, a Dingle.
Moore from Utah.
Yeah,
My guy.
Utah. Yeah. Look at the little babies. Aren't they cute?
You gotta vote now. Wait, what? Where am I? Huh?
Yeah, that's an image. No question about it. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hello, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. I'm one of the co-developers of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Laboratory studies have shown that certain nutraceuticals are very effective against herpes simplex 1 viruses. These nutraceuticals are also found in Virago. And here is another proud user of Virago.
Hi, my name is Yolanta. I'm proud user of Virago. For my entire life, I suffer from major symptoms of herpes simplex 1. I had regular major outbreaks in my mouth and nose. Then I was introduced to Virago. Within 2 weeks, my symptoms significantly reduced, and presently I have no symptoms, and I have credited this to taking Virago on a regular basis. Virago changed my life. I can't recommend it enough.
Order your bottle of Virago today online at myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. myvirago.com. Coupon code IMMUNE. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
All right, if you want to send your child or grandchild to a private school, we have a way for you to accomplish that goal. Words are hard. It's called ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. It's simple. Just visit ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com and tell us which private school you want to send your child to. Then we contact that school on your behalf and work to secure a voucher for half off the first year of tuition, typically saving thousands of dollars for families. Now, the program only applies to new students who are not currently enrolled in the school. So if you've been considering sending your child to a private school and thought it was financially out of reach, go to ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com to learn more and start the process today. That's ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com.
You've probably been hearing a lot of buzz about tariffs.
I haven't.
Really?
What's a tariff?
It's a tax on imported goods.
It makes these imported goods more expensive.
Oh, that explains why I've never heard of tariffs.
Why?
Because 92.3% of the furniture at Penny Mustard is made in the USA.
True.
In fact, most of it is built by local craftsmen and women right here in the Midwest.
And locally sourced furniture will never have a tariff on it.
So when you invest in new furniture at Penny Mustard, you won't be paying extra taxes and shipping costs.
Besides, tariffs or no tariffs, our American-made Penny Mustard strong furniture will last generations longer than IFE-made furniture shipped in from overseas.
You get so much more for your money when you buy American.
Tell me more about these tariffs.
Can we talk about this later? I'm so tired of hearing about them.
Oh, so I guess you can say that all this talk about tariffs is taxing.
I see what you did there.
PennyMustard.com.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Right now, MyPillow is having 2 sales in 1. The first is a closeout sale on Percale bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $25. That's right, you can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $25. 11 colors to choose from. When they're gone, they're gone. The second sale is a new energy drink called Rev 7, a premium energy drink that is actually good for you. It tastes great and gives you energy all day. Plus, it has no sugar, no caffeine, so you don't experience those
jitters and crashes that we've all been through with the other energy drinks. What makes Rev 7 so special is that it's powered with a premium nootropic that helps fuel your mind and provides the most efficient and cleanest fuel ever. For a limited time, get an introductory 3-pack absolutely free. These amazing offers won't last long, so order now. Just go to mypillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201.
Spring is here. It's time to get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather in a brand new scooter from Mars Medical in New Lenox. Come see and test drive their full collection of new and used power mobility devices for sale. Mars Medical carries full and travel size scooters from Pride Mobility and Golden Technologies. Inventory is moving out daily, so don't hesitate to pick out your new scooter today. And don't forget, Mars Medical also has lightweight and compact transport wheelchairs available for sale or rental use for those day trips to the zoo or to the park. Some units weigh as little as 19 pounds. Or improve your outdoor activities this spring with a Rollator walker. Mars Medical has over 7 models of Rollator walkers on the floor for purchase. Make this spring one to remember on the north side of Route 30 between Cedar and Vine Road in New Lenox. Or go to marsmedicalsupply.com. Mars Medical, customer care that is out of this world.
AM 560, The Answer.
I believe that we will win.
I believe that we will win.
I believe that we will win.
Kids do this before 5th grade volleyball. What is that?
That was the baristas, the Starbucks baristas
right.
protesting their inability to wear flair anymore.
Yeah, they want to wear black tops and then black
No,
jeans,
they don't want
pants.
to.
They have to.
Yeah.
Black jeans, black pants.
Yeah, they don't
Dark.
want to. They have to. Then they want to look like they've been out to pasture at a Burning Man concert for a week, like most of them do. But they can't look like that anymore.
Well, you know
Or at
why they
least
want
dress
to
like
do
that.
it? Because they want that green apron to pop when you walk in to see the green Starbucks apron. It's so stupid.
It's the opposite of Jennifer Aniston in Office Space. They want to exhibit more flair.
We need more bling. All right, yes?
6:36, we'll talk to Spike's Brendan O'Neill. How America betrayed Edon Alexander, the recently released last American hostage held by Hamas. That's at 6:36.
And later, a more remorseful Jake Tapper emerged yesterday. It's hysterical. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is John Cruz.
Hey there, good morning. It's 63 degrees in Chicago and AM 560 The Answer. John Cruz here in the Quick Delivery Service newsroom. The Illinois Supreme Court set to decide if a sheriff's deputy should be released from jail as he awaits trial in a murder case. Sean Grayson's attorneys have asked the court to step in after an appellate court ordered he stay behind bars for the murder of Sonia Massey back in July. The court hearing arguments on Wednesday. A 20-year-old woman shot and killed during an argument on Chicago's South Side early this morning. Now, this happened in the 7,000 block of South Eberhard Avenue. Police tell us the victim got into an argument with a group of women when a man walked up and shot her twice. She was pronounced dead at University of Chicago Medical Center. CPD on the hunt for the shooter. If you use artificial tears products for your eyes, listen up. A nationwide recall issued for certain AvCare products. That's the St. Louis company that the FDA says might have produced unacceptable quality lubricant eye drops, and consumers should stop using them immediately. According to AvCare, the items were distributed and shipped between May 26, 2023 and April 21, 2025. News is a service of Quick Delivery Service. Visit quickdelivery.com when you need same-day delivery of your routes. Ground delivery when you need it from safe, licensed professionals. Go to quickdelivery.com now to schedule your delivery. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
It's almost time for AM 560's annual golf outing, presented by Signature Bank. And once again, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation as they support America's first responder and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. It's all happening on Wednesday, June 18th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. Enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
Yeah, when you say your Hassleus mattress showrooms are employee-free, you don't really mean it, right?
Of course we mean it. No employees. Give the mattresses a try with no pushy sales guy.
Why no employees?
To save you money.
How much money?
Well, others sell a Beauty Sleep by Beauty Rest Elm Cove B Queen for $16.59, but the everyday Hassleus price is just $8.42.
Whoa, Nelly.
We also have way low pricing on our selection of Sealy Posturepedic and more.
Well, that's pretty good.
And through Monday, purchase a select Beauty Rest or Sealy Posturepedic mattress in any size and receive a free adjustable base.
That's exceptionally good.
Plus, free next day delivery, removal and setup of your new mattress, and free financing is available too.
All because your showrooms are employee-free?
Yes, sir.
I like the way you do business.
Get a free adjustable base now through Monday at Hassleus Mattress. Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free Chicagoland showroom near you at hassleus.com.
This is Carol Platt-Lebo for townhall.com. Ed Martin was Donald Trump's pick to serve as U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., its top federal prosecutor. But he was blocked by Senate Republicans like Georgia's Tom Tillis. Martin had vowed legal action against those who impeded DOJ's efforts and fired 30 prosecutors who'd worked on January the 6th cases. Perhaps Tillis thought stopping Martin's nomination as U.S. Attorney marked the end of the road for him. Instead, President Trump has doubled down. He's named Martin as the new director of the Weaponization Working Group, Associate Deputy Attorney General, and Pardons Attorney at the DOJ. There, he'll be perfectly positioned to investigate the Biden administration's weaponization of law enforcement and investigate pardons for those hurt by it. Martin is committed and smart. Perhaps blocking him from his original post was a blessing in disguise for the American people.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Some big delays on the inbound Kennedy, but maybe not where you'd expect them this morning. The bigger delays now are from O'Hare to Montrose, where it's about a 20-minute drive with a crash on the right shoulder right before Montrose. Once you get past there, it's about 17 minutes from there into the loop, with the worst of it coming between Montrose and California, but it really doesn't look terrible moving into the loop. Outbound on the Kennedy from the Burns Circle interchange out to Montrose is about a 30-minute drive right now. Inbound Eisenhower is really jammed up in the last 30 minutes. Now about a 25-minute drive from Wolf to the post office, with the worst coming between Wolf and 25th. Outbound looks okay. Inbound Stevenson slows down between Harlem and Kedzie. That's about a 30-minute drive now from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound looks fine, and both ways on the Dan Ryan, you're in good shape as well. Traffic is a service of True Green. Summer is better with True Green. Get the best lawn at the best price for a limited time. Get 75% off your first treatment. Don't wait. Sign up at TrueGreen.com today and let the pros handle the work while you enjoy the results. Restrictions apply. In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Brian White.
Clouds and sun, severe thunderstorm today. We could see some downpours and damaging wind. Isolated tornado, high 89. A gusty thunderstorm this evening, then some clearing, low 62. Windy and warm, sun and clouds, a thunderstorm tomorrow, the high 89. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. President Trump continuing his travels in the Middle East, landing in Qatar, the source of some controversy, well, for a number of reasons, but of course most recently the apparent offer of a 747 to be used as Air Force One would be gratis from the Qataris to the Trump administration. Trump had this to say in appreciation for the welcome from Amir Al-Thani, the head of the Qatari government.
I just want to thank you for everything, and maybe in particular our friendship. It's been a very loyal, great, beautiful friendship. And the job you've done is second to none. You look at this, it's so beautiful. As a construction person, I'm seeing perfect marble. This is what they call perfecto. And just a great job you've done, and what a beautiful place. And we appreciate those camels. I haven't seen camels like that in a long time. And that was some greeting. We appreciate it very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You can have a lot of fun.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, the camels were a nice touch. I don't know if they're going to throw in any camels with the plane, but
well, they treated him like a king.
Nice touch.
In Saudi Arabia and there. Remember when Biden went to Saudi Arabia? He wouldn't even shake their hands. He fist bumped them. So weird.
Qatar, there's a good piece in the Free Press about Qatar, how Qatar bought America. It is curious. It is worth addressing. It's a country that has about 300,000 people. And they have spent about $100 billion trying to influence, I guess, is the most generous word I can come up with, American policy. As we mentioned before, but now it's in greater focus, top foreign funders of U.S. colleges and universities, Qatar, $6.3 billion. Wow. China is second at 5.6. China with, 1.5 billion people.
Yeah.
I mean, does that send anybody's spidey senses tingling? It probably should. But now the flip side is, while Trump has been out there, he has pressed the interests of our one reliable ally in the region, and that's Israel. He has pressed their interests, including with respect to the apparent reformed terrorist al-Sharaa, now the head of the Syrian government. Trump, of course, announced to much fanfare, prodded by the Saudis and the Turks, to restore normal relations with Syria, to end the sanctions against Syria. And he had this to say about al-Sharaa.
I met the new leader of the country, and he's got a strong past. I'll be very nice. He's got a strong past, but I liked him a lot. I think he'll be a great representative, and we'll see. You're going to have a strong past to put that one around. You cannot be a weak person. If you're a weak person, we would just be wasting time. So he's a strong guy, and I thought he was good, and let's see what happens. But we're going to give him a fighting chance by taking off the sanctions. So we've actually been praised for that. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia was very strong. Please do that. He wanted it done. President of Turkey wanted it done. President Erdogan called me, said, is there any way you could do that? Because if you don't do that, they don't have a chance. And so I did it, and it's actually been very popular. The Emir liked it a lot. It's been very, very popular. So let's see what happens, but it's my honor to have done it.
Yeah, the rhetoric is, I know it's his channeling Norman Vincent Peale, and I know he's not much of a wordsmith, but I wouldn't call a former terrorist having a strong background. I may call it a violent background.
Right.
I wouldn't be praising it, but okay. But I'm not averse to the idea that he is signaling some of the right things. Let's give him a chance. And the other thing that Trump did, which was useful, to test out this burgeoning relationship, is press al-Sharaa to recognize Israel.
Right.
So he is, as I said, in service to Israel's interest, even though he's not making a stop there while in the Middle East. And do we have Brendan O'Neill? Okay. All right. Well,
this is the first chance for Syria since 1979 to join the rest of the world. And what a great way to ice out Iran by taking away one of their allies, Syria, if we get them on our side. So I understand why he's doing it, and I don't fault him for doing it. But yeah, you're right. The rhetoric is a little too much sometimes, considering he used to be the former leader of al-Qaeda.
Yeah, al-Nusra, al-Qaeda in Syria. But again, I'm sort of, Trump has conditioned us to some of his choice rhetoric when it comes to dealing with complicated people who happen to be heads of state the world over. So that context is relevant. All right, we'll try to offer Brendan O'Neill from Spiked, who we want to talk to about some of these matters after this. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank that cares about your business and is invested in your success. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Chris Johnson, CEO of Classic Cinemas and proud customer of Signature Bank. We are a local family-owned business that is known for free refills on all sizes of popcorn, soft drinks, and ices. With over 9,000 heated recliners in 16 locations, we marry the traditions of the past with today's state-of-the-art technology. Throw in a 30-minute guarantee and an after-movie mint, and you have the perfect night out. As we strive to make every guest our priority, Signature Bank does the same with their customers. The team at Signature Bank is interested in taking my company forward. They have all the resources and solutions of the big banks, but they customize their offerings to meet my business needs. The customer always comes first with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You never want to miss one of life's most important moments. A graduation, a birthday, a first communion, a wedding. When these moments happen, you want to make sure to capture them so that you and your loved ones can remember them for years to come. For over 30 years, families have relied on Tom Kaloran Photography to capture important life moments. This locally owned family business can provide the solutions you need for your important event photography, from weddings and birthdays to class reunions and golf outings. No matter the size or scope, Tom Kaloran Photography will make sure you have lasting memories to share for years to come. Tom Kaloran Photography is also the official photographer for AM 560 The Answer. To learn more and to see their portfolio, just visit KaloranPhotography.com. That's KILLORAN Photography.com. Or call them at 708-361-0025. Tom Kaloran Photography, capturing important life moments for over 30 years.
I feel so much safer now that I have Goldilocks security systems. Crime is, as you know, is always around us in Chicago, and criminals are looking for easy targets. They're getting more coordinated and bolder, even entering homes with families inside. You've heard us report about that. They watch you first, they see your routine, and when they decide to make their move, there's really no warning. I know criminals are looking for unsecured homes, and that is why I chose Goldilocks for my home security. Goldilocks state-of-the-art smart home security systems doesn't just record crime, it prevents it. With Goldilocks real-time monitoring, the police are notified immediately, and every second counts if someone breaks into your home. Goldilocks has given my family much-needed peace of mind. They also offer commercial security systems for any sized business. You want to protect your assets. So Goldilocks has hundreds of 5-star Google reviews and has served Chicagoland since 1981. If you're thinking about getting a security system, go with like-minded individuals like the people at Goldilocks. Again, they've been around since 1981. Tell them Amy Jacobson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months of monitoring for free with any new install. Call them today. The number's easy to memorize. 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com. myvivergo.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Let's turn our attention to Campus Beat, since I mentioned Qatar's remarkable amount of spending on college campuses or in support of universities here. But by the way, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I mentioned this Free Press piece on entitled "How Qatar Bought America." So it's $6 billion on universities, but $100 billion overall to establish influence in Congress, universities, newsrooms, think tank, corporations. And there's a lot of cross-pollination between Trump personnel and Qatar. Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, led the lobbying firm Mercury Public Affairs when it represented Qatar's embassy in Washington. Kash Patel, FBI director, worked as a consultant for Qatar. He wasn't registered as a foreign agent, but he did consulting work for the country.
Okay.
Steve Witkoff happens to be a beneficiary of Qatar's largesse, the special envoy to the Middle East. Qatar's sovereign wealth fund bought out his faltering investment in New York's Park Lane Hotel for $623 million. Meanwhile, the Trump Organization is hard at work planning a new luxury golf resort near Doha in partnership with a Qatari company.
I don't know if Biden did that, would people be upset?
And just a reminder again, Qatar is a seat of the Muslim Brotherhood, which is a crucial source of financing for Hamas, a diplomatic and energy partner of Iran, a refugee for the Taliban's exiled political leadership when needed, Hamas's political leadership when needed, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the mastermind behind the World Trade Center bombings in 9/11.
It's complicated or it's obvious? I mean, Senator John Kennedy yesterday came out and said, quote, "I trust Qatar like I trust a rest stop bathroom."
It's also, Al Jazeera is its house organ. Well, really, for the Muslim world. Reaches 430 million people in more than 150 countries.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, go back to American colleges and universities. The president of Yale University had this to say. This in the context of describing plans for raising large sums of money to help support the university in coming years. It seems to me that we should imperil the independence of the university if we accepted the policy of seeking federal or state funds in any way to make current expenses. The GI Bill of Rights helps that student to secure an education, but the university receives no grant for its operation. We have entered into service contracts with the Army and Navy, from which, however, we receive no profit. If we once put ourselves in the position of dependence on government financial assistance, our freedom is lost. Sounds like he should be the president of Hillsdale College, except that was the Yale University president, Charles Seymour, in the year 1948.
Oh.
Right. Today, we have allowed, they have allowed colleges and universities to become so dependent on public sector financing and public sector benefits and foreign investment. And foreign infiltration the Confucius Institutes that we talked about, and people sort of, talk about it like checking a box. Oh, yeah, the Confucius Institutes, it's part of Chinese Communist Party influence peddling. We got to look at that. And some academics have been arrested over the years, including, I believe, from Harvard, for violations of, I think, FARA and other laws related to working for the Chinese Communist Party, well under the guise of being a U.S. academic. And we're in the content, we're talking about the money that pours in from these foreign interests. And gosh, this is particularly interesting for the University of Illinois. But I'm talking about Stanford. Stanford Review broke this story about Chinese academic espionage at Stanford. Talk about corporate espionage, stealing intellectual property. What about academic espionage? This summer, a CCP agent impersonated a Stanford student. Under the alias Charles Chen, he approached several students through social media. Anna, that's not a real name, used, alias to protect her. Stanford student conducting sensitive research on China began receiving unexpected messages from Charles Chen. At first, Charles's outreach seemed benign, asking about network opportunities, but soon his messages took a strange turn, the Stanford Review reporting. Charles inquired whether Anna spoke Mandarin, then grew increasingly persistent and personal. He sent videos of Americans who had gained fame in China, encouraged Anna to visit Beijing, and offered to cover her travel expenses. He advised her to enter China for only 24 to 144 hours, short enough, he said, to avoid visa scrutiny by authorities, urged her to communicate exclusively via the Chinese version of WeChat, which is, of course, monitored by the CCP. Under the guidance of experts familiar with espionage tactics, Anna contacted authorities. Their investigation revealed that Charles Chen had no affiliation with Stanford. Instead, he had posed as a Stanford student for years, slightly altering his name and persona online, targeting multiple students, nearly all of them women, researching China-related topics. According to the experts on China who assisted Anna, Charles Chen was likely an agent of the Chinese Ministry of State Security, tasked with identifying sympathetic Stanford students and gathering intelligence. And apparently this has been something that Stanford has been warned about for some time. So you start to say, well, what do they want when they shovel billions of dollars into American universities and colleges? Well, they want to be treated as a benefactor, and thus if there is any sort of negativity that bubbles up in relation to Chinese Communist Party activities, that some of these universities will turn a blind eye because the money is more important. After interviewing multiple anonymous Stanford faculty, students, and China experts, we can confirm, Stanford Review, the CCP is orchestrating a widespread intelligence gathering campaign at Stanford. In short, there are Chinese spies at Stanford. And if you have operators running people at Stanford, what about at University of Illinois, where you have nearly, what was it, about a quarter of undergrads are Chinese foreign nationals? They don't leave without the government's approval.
Exactly.
So China knows who they're allowing to come here. The Chinese Communist Party does.
And they can try and control you.
Well, the hope is that the Stanford story prompts some internal review at places like U of I, and just sort of some internal reflection in higher education altogether. Coming up at 7:07, we'll return to geopolitics, talk a little bit about the Russia-Ukraine détente meeting today with George Beebe. That's 7:07.
Today we're going to have sunny skies. It's going to be hot and humid. A severe thunderstorm later at 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
He'll soon arrive in the United Arab Emirates. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That'll be President Trump's third and final stop on this Middle East trip, wrapping up a trip to Qatar with a rally.
You are, without a doubt, the greatest fighting force in the history of the world.
The commander-in-chief addressing American troops at an air base.
We love and respect you. This is what you're doing, the service you do for your country. You keep us safe.
All the soldiers and airmen here at Al Udeid, giving the president numerous standing ovations. It's been a very busy trip. The theme has been commerce. The president's been saying it's commerce, not conflict. But the president says he's here to do deals.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson traveling with the president, who says this trip that started in Saudi Arabia is bringing in more than $1 trillion in investments into the U.S. and American companies. Earlier in Qatar, the president also again talked about trying to work out a deal to denuclear Iran.
Iran has sort of agreed to the terms. They're not going to make, I call it in a friendly way, nuclear dust. We're not going to be making any nuclear dust in Iran.
And again, warning the U.S. could take military action if necessary to prevent Iran from building nuclear weapons. President Trump will not go to Turkey like he had hinted he could to join ceasefire talks between Russia and Ukraine. Its President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived a few hours ago, but Russian leader Vladimir Putin's a no-show.
He's the only Moscow representative President Zelensky is prepared to talk to directly, so it appears these long-awaited negotiations will for now happen at a lower level. It's not even clear what the timings are. Russian sources reportedly say the talks are today. The Ukrainians believe it's tomorrow. Critics of the Kremlin say all this suggests the Russians are not serious about peace.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. The new U.S. tariffs President Trump imposed on China and other countries will cost shoppers more at Walmart. The giant retailer says after profit dropped in the first quarter, it'll raise some prices because of tariff costs. America's listening to Fox News.
.560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the Air Right Heating and Cooling newsroom. Potential severe weather for the afternoon across the area, including large hail, heavy downpours, deadly lightning, and the possibility of tornadoes. State transportation leaders giving an update on how transit negotiations are coming along. This after Illinois lawmakers say they have until the end of the month to address a $700 million shortfall. Now, without it, public transit agencies in the Chicago area and across the state will face major cuts starting as early as June. Metro faces a 40% reduction in service, and at least 4 of 8 CTA train lines would be reduced or eliminated next year. A 4-year-old boy in critical condition after being shot Wednesday on the city's southwest side. Chicago PD still looking for the shooter. This happened around 7 p.m. last night near McKinley Park. That 4-year-old, a passenger in a minivan driven by a 23-year-old man. Police say an armed person in a vehicle behind the van fired shots. The boy shot in the back, taken to the hospital in critical condition. No one is in custody, and CPD continues their investigation. An Edgewater man facing felony animal cruelty charges after a resident found a 6-month-old dog with severe injuries in a park. Surveillance footage led police to 29-year-old Benjamin Wilkins. The puppy had shattered hips and other fractures. Rocky is now with a foster family and doing much better. Beyonce's in town tonight. The singer's Cowboy Carter tour kicking off one of 3 nights at Soldier Field. This after online ticket seller Live Nation announcing the return of its annual $30 ticket promotion for summer concerts, including plenty here in Chicago. The company's $30 ticket to summer, including more than 1,000 shows nationwide. News is a service of Air Right Heating and Cooling, offering AM 560 listeners $56 off any service, including inspections. Don't wait for a heat wave for that old air conditioner to break down. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. A check of your traffic coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. I've added another burner to my very large collection of defense products. Why? Because Byrna just launched their new compact launcher, the smallest, most compact launcher to date, and I'll be taking it with me everywhere I go. It's the same size as a smartphone, allowing you to conceal carry comfortably and with confidence. It fires 400 feet per second with 41 joules per square inch of stopping power. The size is perfect for women who want protection but can't carry a firearm. It's equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammunition. It's designed to incapacitate an attacker for 30 to 40 minutes. And Byrna is legal in all 50 states. There's no background check required. It can be shipped directly to your door. And Byrna is trusted by hundreds of police departments and government agencies worldwide. And Byrna is proudly American, each unit hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Visit byrna.com today, or you can simply try before you buy by finding a Byrna dealer and a partner near you. That's byrna.com.
Your home or business has storm damage and you have an insurance claim.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters. Today, insurance companies are notorious for offering way too little money to repair damage to your home or commercial building due to wind, hail, tornado, floods, or fire. Crosscom works for you, not the insurance company. As licensed adjusters, Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. After they get you the fair insurance company result, Crosscom can start doing your repairs. Crosscom is a full construction and restoration company that will get your property back to its pre-loss condition, getting your life back to normal. Roof, siding, windows, doors, fire restoration, Crosscom does it all.
Call Crosscom.
Licensed in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin.
This is Dan Leitz with Crosscom. We share your conservative and Christian values. Let us handle everything. It all starts with a call.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
8 years. It has been 8 years since QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. Hi, Amy Jacobson here, and this is remarkable. Using regenerative cell therapy to restore tissue in your achy joints. These are biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joint. Listen, it's a powerful and potent way to give your joints the new life and repairing old tissue. Best part, there's no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. This is an all-natural option with lasting relief. Imagine doing all the things you enjoyed this summer without joint pain. Here's what I want you to do. Contact my good friends at QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation. You have nothing to lose. Saturday appointments available. The number to call is 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Some big headaches both ways on the Kennedy this morning inbound. It's a 30-minute drive from Montrose to the Burn Circle interchange, with the biggest delays coming between Montrose and Damon, with a crash on the inbound side at Irving Park adding to your slowdowns. Outbound, you're looking at a 45-minute drive from the Loop to Montrose, with the biggest delays there between Chicago and Sacramento. That'll cost you 30 minutes by itself. And then from there out to O'Hare, it's an extra 30 minutes on top of that, so an hour now from the Loop to O'Hare on the Kennedy. Inbound Eisenhower looking at a 45-minute drive from Wolf to the post office. Biggest delays there from Mannheim to Costner. Outbound Eisenhower, 30 minutes from the Loop to Wolf. Inbound on the Stevenson, it's a 40-minute drive from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive. Biggest delays there between First Avenue and Kedzie. Traffic is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. From the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Brian White.
Clouds and some sun, a severe thunderstorm late this afternoon. Breezy warm. We could see some downpours and damaging wind, even an isolated tornado. High today 89. Breezy this evening, a gusty thunderstorm, then some clearing tonight, low 62. A thunderstorm for tomorrow, the high 89. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. They don't want to talk about it, so I do. They don't want to talk about something, then that's something that we should stick on.
Yep.
What don't they want to talk about? They don't want to talk about the conspiring of the D.C. press corps with their political party's overlords to prop up Joe Biden at the end of his term. And with these books coming out with sort of every man for themselves, trying to refurbish their reputations, separate themselves from the lie by calling other people liars like Jake Tapper is doing. It's really interesting to see the approach that is being taken. And the more that we're focused on things they don't want to focus on, the better it is. And it's also appropriate because at least politically, we need to effort some accountability. start with Jake Tapper, since he's, positioned himself as some sort of whistleblower here. Now that we have all the facts.
Yeah.
They could have had all those facts earlier if they were at all inquisitive, but they didn't want to believe their lying eyes. They wanted to believe the lying flacks that were part of Biden's inner circle so that they could all cover for one another for the purposes of, we got to go with this until we can come up with an alternative.
Well, he seemed a little more remorseful yesterday when he was on, of all places, CNN on their morning show, talked about there being two Bidens and how they could have done better.
There were two Bidens. There was a Biden that was perfectly workable, serviceable, seemed fine, and then there was a non-functioning one that couldn't come up with names of top aides, that would lose his train of thought to an alarming degree. And that non-functioning Biden reared his head increasingly over and over. It really seemed to exacerbate and get much worse in 2023, 2024.
And he went on,
That's not remorseful.
No, well, that's not the bite. He went on.
It's not remorseful at all. That's more of the cover story that he and Alex Thompson have invented to say that, we were on this story, but we couldn't quite flesh it out.
Well, later on in the interview, he's like, we could have done better, but it's all just a joke.
Whatever. That's a non-apology.
Yeah,
that's non-accountability. That's not remorse. Here's Jake Tapper, the actual Jake Tapper, flacking for the regime over and over and over again in those years where there were supposedly two Joe Bidens. And what did he say? Did he say there were two Joe Bidens then? No. What he said is, if you question Biden's cognitive capacity, you're just ridiculing him for having a stutter. That's what he said for years. You're mean-spirited. You're talking about somebody who has a challenge, like so many Americans. They gave people who were asking the legitimate questions or raising the issues that are associated with believing what you're seeing, they were hard-hearted.
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were
stuttering,
mocking his stutter. Trump there mocking Joe Biden's stutter. President Biden obviously suffers from a stutter. It seems to be from him and his campaign something along the lines of, we should make fun of people who have stutters. We should slime Democrats with unfounded allegations. Biden was pretty gaffe-prone before.
Yes, exactly.
And I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline.
That was, of course, Tapper with Lara Trump, but it wasn't just Lara Trump. So that's who actually Jake Tapper is, and that's what he was saying. Now, as he's trying to reinvent himself now as this whistleblower, as I said. And others, of course, there's sort of a couple of layers to the response here, the damage control. I'm talking on the political side. Part of it is we just need to move on. Wolf Blitzer, doing Jake Tapper's work for him, pressing Hakeem Jeffries.
Why should voters trust Democrats when it's clear so many in your party went to great lengths to keep Biden's condition hidden from the public?
I can't tell you what happened between George Clooney and President Biden. I wasn't at that event. What I can say is that we're not looking backward. We're going to continue to look forward, because at this moment, we've got real problems that need to be addressed on behalf of the American people, including the Republican effort to snatch away health care, snatch away food assistance, and hurt veterans.
You interacted with President Biden during those days, those final days he was president of the United States. Did you sense there was a major deterioration?
Well, in the conversations that I was able to have on behalf of the House Democratic Caucus in those final days, we simply expressed our perspective as to what would be best for the party at that given moment in time. President Biden subsequently made the decision that he was going to pass the baton to Vice President Kamala Harris. Of course, that was a decision that we supported strongly.
Yeah, that's a non-answer. So you get the we're moving on, misdirection play, Republicans are mean and they're cutting government. I wish that were true. that we were part of the switch out, but you were part of the prevarication too, right, Hakeem? Ro Khanna is one of these flim-flammers who presents as moderate, even though, just in terms of demeanor, even though he's just another cut-and-paste Marxist. Listen to him. Martha MacCallum did the best job of anybody pressing this issue because she has clean hands in a way that Wolf Blitzer and Jake Tapper and the whole lot of them on CNN and MSNBC don't. Ro Khanna on the before the election. Here was Ro Khanna before the election as a surrogate for Biden.
I've seen the president twice in the last 2 weeks. I've had a conversation with him. He's completely mentally sharp. When the president is out there, he's at his best. Have him debate in the general election. I don't think Donald Trump will. I have spoken with the president. He is fully coherent.
Lies, lies, and more damn lies.
No,
no,
he didn't lie.
Were you telling the truth back then?
I was. I have met him a few times at public events, and he was. But, of course, I didn't have the full picture. I mean, I met him maybe 2 times on rope lines and at public events. And I do think it's important that, given what has come out, that we take accountability. Obviously, he should not have run. We should be clear to say that. Obviously, there should have been an open primary. And I don't think that's very difficult. Democrats should just be straight up that he should not have run. Now that we know all of the facts, there should have been an open primary. I think to move on and move forward, it's important to take accountability and be straightforward with the American people.
Right. Move on, move forward. We got to look to a brighter tomorrow. We're taking accountability by saying we could do better. It's just another version of what Jake Tapper said.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us on the same line. I mean, if I was on the bubble as a Democrat, I would completely separate myself from the Democratic Party after all of this.
There's another layer to the response that is additionally insulting from Ro Khanna. Because Marsha MacCallum asks the right follow-up question.
I love her.
You saw the same things we saw. So first of all, you're a vociferous surrogate. I know, and I can say definitively. Now it's, hey, I met him in passing a couple times.
Just at a rope line,
a quick, a quick grip and grin, and then we were off. So what I saw, that's all I saw.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, we should have done this and we should have done that, right? But then the follow-up question, of course, is, well, if in retrospect he shouldn't have been the candidate, which he ultimately wasn't, of course, then in retrospect he shouldn't have been the president either.
Exactly.
Do you blame him for this or his family? Like, why wasn't there some sort of intervention when clearly it was obvious that something was very wrong? It didn't just happen once or twice. It happened almost weekly.
Well, ultimately, the buck stops with the president. He made an incorrect decision of running, and given all the reporting that has come out. Now, look, there were those of us, including me, who were surrogates for him, campaigning for him. When we saw him on a rope line, when we had a 2-minute conversation with him at an event.
But you saw him on TV. You saw him falling down. You saw him, looking around, trying to figure out where he was supposed to go next. So you saw Barack Obama here leading him off the stage as if he didn't know where he was going. So it wasn't that you only saw him in those little instances, right?
Well, I saw him in those instances, and I saw him on television like every other American. But we had the White House saying that he was perfectly in charge, he was capable, and in the brief interactions we had on a rope line, he seemed perfectly fine. But the point is that obviously we now know that there were people who knew about his decline.
Yeah, and then he goes on to say, I don't know why that got cut off. He goes on to say that well, he couldn't be the candidate, should have been the candidate, but there's no indication at this point that he couldn't do the job because, of course, MacCallum raised the issue, well, all those policy decisions that were made, who was making them? Well, there's no indication that he didn't have capacity to do the job. Well, how is that? So he had a capacity to do the campaign this entire time until he didn't. But then he had capacity to continue doing the job, which of course was an issue raised when he bowed out of the campaign.
Right.
And now Ro Khanna's say, well, no, there's no stories yet that say he couldn't do the job or he didn't make this decision. So until there are stories, then when stories come that say, well, it was Susan Rice who made this decision, for example, hypothetically, or it was somebody, moving his arm to sign a document. Then it's, well, now that all the facts are in retrospect, Ro Khanna will do the same thing with his job as president that he's doing right now with his status as a candidate. This is how, just again, dyed-in-the-wool dishonest these people are.
Democratic leaders lied to all of us about his condition to make sure, their guy won. Anything at all odds. We will lie, we will steal, we will cheat just to make sure Orange Man doesn't get in office again.
The point is, we knew they were lying.
I know.
Any sensible American knew they were lying.
Watch TV.
But what you now have, the proverbial receipts. But watch them lie about the lie.
Yeah, there you go.
And say, how do you affiliate with these people? And if they'll lie to you about this, you think they're telling you the truth when it comes to everything else that they're supposedly doing for you that's going to be so wonderful? Wake up.
The trust is gone.
Yeah, that's wishful thinking. Yeah. Steve in Oswego.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Thanks for taking the call. A couple of things I'd like to remind people about as well, in addition to what you had said. They didn't just lie to cover this up. They also gaslighted and tried to suggest that Trump himself was having cognitive issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the Democratic Party can never
is?
bring up the 25th Amendment ever again. No.
Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, and the other thing, too, is I specifically remember J.B. Pritzker being a part of this, too. I remember one point he had met with him, and he had said, you need to get in front of, well, this is what J.B. told all of us. You need to get out in front of the people. That will build confidence. He's part of this, too.
He absolutely is. Yep, great points. Thanks for the call. That needs to be represented as well. Get to JB in a second. Jack in Northwest Indiana.
Morning, guys. Every time I hear this type of discussion, I just keep on. The Republicans would use each and every one of these issues and bring them up on a repetitive basis as we prepare for the primaries. To me, this is a simple messaging, whether it's the border, championing a criminal as opposed to the citizens, whether it's Joe Biden, whether it's COVID. You keep on putting these in front of the people because for so long, my frustration with Republicans, of which I count myself as one, never wishing to be aggressive, never wishing to push it back until Donald Trump came along, the idea of pushing back and being less than civil, it needs to occur because we need to let the people know, each and every voter, exactly what occurred over the past decades, literally going back to Obama, and put it right back in their face as opposed to letting them use us as punching bags.
Yeah, that's right. You got to continue to pound away. It's like, we all know, now it's confirmed, now we move on. Well, that's what they want us to do, which is why I don't want to do it. Tiny Dancer, he was trying to step up in weight class, on The View. He was asked about Biden's appearance on The View, and he wants to move on, too, and he tries to do the misdirection play, too.
Do you think it's helpful for Democrats for him to be speaking out right now?
No, nada, never.
Right.
I'll tell you, no. And I grew up under Bill Clinton's politics, never stopped thinking about tomorrow. That's backwards, not forward. I want to figure out how to get out of here. I don't want to figure out how we got here. And here's the other thing. Donald Trump wants to constantly litigate his Red Bull versus Coke Zero. That is not where I want to go. Okay? And that's what he wants. What's the strategy? I want to focus on the Medicaid cuts, the health care cuts. As somebody who was the point person to negotiate the Children's Health Initiative so 10 million kids could have health care.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. He's such a little punk.
What position does he want? What is he angling for? Because he randomly shows up at Chicago press events and stands on stage, sometimes doesn't talk. I'm just saying, what position? Does he want to be the next mayor? Does he want to be governor, U.S. senator?
He wants to be president of the United States. That's what he's always wanted to be.
Okay.
Tom in Blue Island.
Hey, Dan and Amy, good morning. Hakeem Jeffries
in that clip you played, laid out the biggest lie that all these people on the left have laid out, which is the idea that Joe Biden willingly stepped aside. That guy's a 50-year hack. He would do anything, including be a participant in a 2020 stolen election, to become president. The idea that Joe Biden willingly stepped aside is ridiculous. And the bigger point is to Jake Tapper, Hakeem Jeffries, and all of them, is they just assumed Trump would never win, and then these lies they were telling could just be more easily covered up, and now they're exposed.
So something else that they're saying too, like I saw David Plouffe, Obama Biden campaign flack, bitching about it. This is an excerpt from the book, I guess. Biden jacked us with this late announcement. We didn't have enough time. If we would have had more time, Kamala was at her high watermark as soon as the replacement was made, and every day forward from that high watermark, when the vibe shift happened, her support deteriorated.
Yep.
So
she was Girl Friday, and then all of a sudden, and she had millions and billions of dollars of contributions.
That's a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother scam they're trying to sell, particularly to insulate themselves from culpability, and themselves meaning Obama world, as well as, frankly, to maintain this neo-Marxist party as a neo-Marxist party. We just needed more time. It wasn't Kamala. It wasn't the policies that we were rightly characterized as having and as pursuing, and in some cases, unfortunately, as implementing. No. We just needed more time. Okay. Stick with that, too. Frank, Board of Trade.
Yeah, my sense is that they kept this Biden's going to run narrative going as long as they could. I think they knew Harris was a bad candidate. They wanted to shrink the window in which people could actually see her down to 107 days.
Yeah, maybe. Well, they also wanted to see if there was a way around her, and they couldn't figure one.
Yeah, and that's why they didn't, they selected what interviews she'd go on, and she was very protected.
Deborah, Arlington Heights.
Good morning. I'm with you, Dan. We should not forget. We should not forget what they did with Biden and gaslighting us about his condition. We should not forget that we had a candidate just installed without having a primary. We shouldn't forget about what happened with COVID. We shouldn't forget about what happened with the border, because we will be doomed to repeat those mistakes if we do not remember and do something to stand up so that it doesn't happen again.
Thanks, Deborah. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Right now, MyPillow is having two sales in one. The first is a closeout sale on for-sale bed sheets. Any size and any color, just $25. That's right. You can even get queens, kings, split kings, and cow kings. Any size and any color, just $25. 11 colors to choose from. When they're gone, they're gone. The second sale is a new energy drink called Rev 7, a premium energy drink that is actually good for you. It tastes great and gives you energy all day. Plus, it has no sugar, no caffeine, so you don't experience those jitters and crashes that we've all been through with the other energy drinks. What makes Rev 7 so special is that it's powered with a premium nootropic that helps fuel your mind and provides the most efficient and cleanest fuel ever. For a limited time, get an introductory 3-pack absolutely free. These amazing offers won't last long, so order now. Just go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201.
Got a great text message. Dan and Amy, what about the doctor that performed Biden's annual physical? Is he going to be held accountable? He clearly knew his patient's condition and lied to the government and the citizens.
Well, everybody knew. I mean, Robert Hur's report. When did the special prosecutor's report come out? He was unfit to stand trial, but according to Ro Khanna, there's no evidence that he was unfit for office. But he couldn't stand trial, but he could be president of the United States. Yeah, okay, sure.
Don't ever forget, though. All right, for over 8 years, our good friends at QC Kinetics have been changing lives. They're the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. 50,000 satisfied patients, and you can be next. People with knee, back pain are now living pain-free. If you have shoulder and hip pain, gone. This is remarkable, folks. Using regenerative cell therapy to restore tissue in your achy joints. Now, these are biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joint. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life and repairing old tissue. The best part is there's no drugs, there's no surgery, there's no downtime. It's an all-natural option with lasting relief. Imagine doing the things you enjoy this summer. It's going to be 90 degrees today. Get out and enjoy. But if you can't because of chronic pain, then just call our good friends at QC Kinetics. They'll walk you through the process. It is a free consultation, so you have nothing to lose. The number to call to schedule your free consultation, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
Hi there, it's Chris Stigall. Do you know that more than 200 members of Congress are standing up for AM radio listeners right now? The AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act will keep AM radio in cars because when cell and internet services are down, this free service could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 39179 and tell Congress to pass this critical legislation right now. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
AM 560, The Answer.
Yeah, that her report, just as a refresher, was issued in February of 2024. And yet Ro Khanna and Tiny Dancer and Jelly Belly and Hakeem Jeffries and Pagliacci Schumer and the whole lot of them, Jake Tapper, Wolf Blitzer, Chuck Todd, they all continue to prop him up, knowing not only what they were seeing, not only what they would know behind the scenes because of their relationships inside the Beltway, but also the black letter report of Robert Hur, who demurred on prosecution because, again, he didn't believe he could convict the president because he thought there would be sympathy because he wasn't fit to stand trial. I mean, But right, everybody was duped by, Ron Klain or whoever they're going to hold up as some sort of scapegoat. Chuck Schumer, Chuck Todd screeching about Chuck Schumer. It's all disingenuous. It's just a den of thieves and liars trying to protect themselves. That's it.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
7:37, we'll talk to George Beebe about today's Russia-Ukraine sit-down and whether or not the advance of peace will be accomplished today. That's 7:37.
And apparently Putin's a no-show. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's John Cruz.
Thank you so much. Good morning. 64 degrees in Chicago and AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the AlmostFreeTeeth.com newsroom. Scattered showers and storms late today. Some of those could end up severe hail. Chicago Public Schools getting their 2025-26 budgets today, but parents and educators have plenty of questions for outgoing CEO Pedro Martinez. CPS facing a $500 million deficit that could spell job cuts and program eliminations. Martinez held a Zoom call Wednesday. Now, the principals union says the budget plan makes it harder to plan for fall. A 4-year-old boy fighting for his life after he was injured in McKinley Park shooting. According to Chicago police, that boy in a minivan along South Ashland just after 7 last night when a vehicle behind the van started shooting. That vehicle sped away. The toddler was shot in the back and rushed to a hospital where he's still listed in critical condition. And the Chicago Bears announcing their schedule for the upcoming NFL season. The team unveiling several big matchups, including Week 1 against the Vikings, kicking off September 8th, and a Week 18 matchup with the Lions. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. What if you could save on average 90% for dental implants and get 100% of your smile back with a Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO or FEP? It's possible. Check if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of your traffic coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
For nearly a decade, AM 560 has marked the start of summer with a night of cigar smoking and great conversation. And this year, we've expanded Cigar Night to 2 nights. Wednesday, May 21st at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove. And Thursday, May 22nd at Gaelic Park in Oak Forest. Featuring the great Larry Elder, along with AM 560's Dan Proft and Sean Thompson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/cigar. That's 560theanswer.com/cigar. Sponsored by Opum tax advocate and attorney Stephen A. Leahy.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-208-0414. 800-208-0414. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-208-0414. 800-208-0414 and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
Hi, it's Chris Stegall. Don't lose trusted news, traffic, sports, and weather that you get from AM radio stations like this one. It's time to make your voice heard. We need Congress to pass the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act to keep AM radio in cars. You know, when internet and cell services drop out, AM could be your only lifeline. Text AM to 39179 and tell Congress to pass this critical legislation now. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month. You may text STOP to stop.
There's a financial article that had this advice about spending money in retirement. Don't touch your Social Security until 70. Don't touch your 401k until 73. Don't touch your Roth IRA until everything else is gone. Okay, so what's missing? Well, you got to eat. Aren't we past the point of our lives when our mommy slaps our hands and says, don't touch that? That's not what you're going to hear when you call Alpha Wealth Group. You've worked hard to get where you are at this point in your life. It's time to enjoy yourself and your money. The complimentary discovery meeting will show you how to grow and protect money, how to reduce taxes, what to do about Social Security, and most importantly, how to build your monthly income so you can have confidence in your retirement and enjoy yourself. Call Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group today at 630-864-6711 and ask for a complimentary discovery visit. You can also visit Alpha Wealth Group at alphawealthgroup.com, or you can call 630-864-6711.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
The good news is this morning, no crashes to tell you about on the expressways. The bad news is there's plenty of brake lights to tell you about. It's a 35-minute drive now on the inbound Kennedy from Montrose to the Burns Circle interchange, and tack on another 10 minutes approaching Montrose, starting at around Central Avenue. The outbound Kennedy's looking at about a 30-minute drive from the loop up to Montrose, and then tack on another 20 from there up to O'Hare. Meanwhile, on the Eisenhower, it's about a 30-minute drive on the outbound side, 40 minutes on the inbound side between Wolf and the post office, with the worst of those slowdowns coming between Central Park and Oak Park in either direction of the Eisenhower. Inbound Stevenson, the busiest traffic you'll see is between Harlem and Pulaski. It's about a 50-minute drive now from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Traffic is a service of Macy's. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? How about essential warm weather styles, just $30 and under, like dresses, shoes, and bags, men's and even kids' looks. Find the latest trends, new arrivals, and great prices at a Macy's Backstage store near you. From the Team Hawkburg Traffic Center, I'm Brian White.
Clouds and sun, severe thunderstorm today. We could see some downpours and damaging wind. Isolated tornado, high 89. A gusty thunderstorm this evening, then some clearing, low 62. Windy and warm, sun and clouds, a thunderstorm tomorrow, the high 89. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Forever Remodeling. Stress-free and high-quality remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the number 4everremodeling.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Turkey for this supposed sit-down between the Russians and the Ukrainians over forging a ceasefire and ultimately a lasting peace. Rubio saying this about how the invasion by Russia and the war between Russia and Ukraine will ultimately be settled?
We'll see what happens over the next couple of days in that regard, but we want to see progress made in that regard, and whatever mechanism is outlined, whatever the process is that needs to happen, I mean, we are open to being constructive and helpful in any way we can to end the conflict. I will say this, and I'll repeat it, that there is no military solution to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. This war is going to end not through a military solution, but through a diplomatic one.
But how much progress can be made if Putin won't deign to appear? Trump not surprised by Putin's absence, as he said in response to a question about this in Doha.
I didn't anticipate. I actually said, why would he go if I'm not going? Because I wasn't going to go. I wasn't planning to go. I would go, but I wasn't planning to go. And I said, I don't think he's going to go if I don't go. And that turned out to be right. But we have people there. Marco, as you know, is doing a fantastic job. Marco's there, Secretary of State, and we have people there. But I didn't think it was possible for Putin to go if I'm not there.
George Beebe is a former director of Russia analysis at the CIA, former staff advisor to Vice President Cheney on Russia and on intelligence matters, currently director of grand strategy at the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft. George Beebe, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the invitation.
So what sort of expectations should we have about today's confab?
Well, I think both sides have gotten the message that they need to be talking, that there has to be a diplomatic process. And what they're fighting over right now is what they're going to talk about. The Ukrainians want to talk about a ceasefire and only a ceasefire because they're under great pressure on the battlefield. They're losing the war. They don't have enough men. They don't have enough equipment, and they can't get enough men and equipment. They don't have enough of them themselves, and the West can't supply it. So they need a breathing spell. They need a ceasefire that can allow them to rest and regroup and defend themselves more effectively. Well, that's not what Russia wants to talk about, obviously. Russia doesn't want to give up its advantage on the battlefield. It wants to use that leverage to talk about what a political settlement ought to look like. And it wants to talk about what the framework for that settlement is all about. So that's what you're seeing playing out in Istanbul right now. The Russians want to talk seriously about the framework of a political settlement. The Ukrainians only want to talk about a ceasefire. And that's something that probably won't be resolved unless the United States weighs in and essentially says to the Ukrainians, look, you're going to have to talk about more than just a ceasefire, because that's not going to cut it.
And Putin's absence, there's a sort of a snub, that doesn't exactly scream constructive engagement.
Well, what the Russians are doing is approaching this like a normal diplomatic negotiation. Presidents don't usually start out a negotiation by getting together and hashing out a lot of the arcane details of a settlement. They come in toward the end of a process to resolve the most difficult issues that can't be resolved at lower levels. That's what's typical, and I think that's how the Russians are approaching this.
Yeah.
They send a team that is prepared to negotiate the framework, and then Putin is ready to step in at the appropriate time.
Well, but I mean, it runs counter to Trump's sense of urgency about this, to stop the killing, to get something done before we lose interest, more or less. And, it just doesn't speak to, it's not an encouraging sign, I guess, at least to me, that Trump's sense of Trump can't even impose sort of a sense of urgency on Putin in terms of making a deal, much less terms of the deal that could be acceptable to the Ukrainians.
Well, I think the Russians have said, look, we've got a framework that we began to negotiate in Istanbul in 2022 after the invasion. The Ukrainian and Russian negotiators made a fair amount of progress. There were still some issues on which they had wide differences, but the Russians have said, hey, you broke off talks at that time. Let's resume them. Let's talk about the things that were in play then. And that's why Putin proposed getting together in Istanbul, where they had been talking 3 years ago. He wants to pick up where they left off on that. Now, that's not something the Ukrainians want to do. They simply wanted to tell the Russians, hey, stop fighting, which that would make no sense for the Russians to agree to. They would be giving up the leverage. It would be sort of like Trump in dealing with China saying, yeah, we'll just drop the tariffs and then we'll hope that we can get together and reach a broader agreement on trade terms. We're not going to give up the leverage that we have unless we've got a deal that we like. And that's how the Russians are approaching this settlement with Ukraine.
Are they still, do you believe, proposing or will propose today the same things they were proposing 3 years ago in Istanbul? Things like Ukraine can't take foreign military aid, Ukraine's military has to be downsized, those sorts of things, in addition to territorial gains?
Well, that's certainly where they're going to start out. I think the key issue for the Russians is to make sure that Ukraine is not in NATO and NATO forces are not in Ukraine. Now, in return, they've indicated a willingness to support Ukrainian membership in the European Union. Now, if those terms are things that we can actually get agreed on paper, I think that would be a significant achievement for the Ukrainians. It would be a concession from Russia that Ukraine will not be militarily in the West, but it will be militarily, will be politically and economically anchored in the West. And that's a huge concession for the Russians to make. Now, the point about how large the Ukrainian military is going to be, that's going to be a very contentious issue. And that's one where the Ukrainians need American help. They don't have much leverage over that issue because they're losing the war. But the United States does have a fair amount of leverage over Russia because Russia is concerned about American weapons in Europe itself, not but on NATO territory. The Russians can't do anything about our force posture there. And depending on how tough we want to be, we could put a lot of pressure on the Russians to concede that Ukraine needs a legitimate self-defense capability. They need a capable military. So that is going to be a contentious issue. The Russians are going to start out with a maximalist demand, and the United States is going to have to lean on them pretty heavily to come up with something that's acceptable.
Well, let's talk about troop levels in both places. Is Russia still using North Korean troops?
I don't believe they are. The North Korean troops that they had been using were primarily in Kursk, in that region of Russia that Ukraine had invaded a little over a year ago. But they didn't actually use North Korean troops on Ukrainian territory, to my knowledge. And at least according to press reports, the Russians aren't any longer employing North Korean troops on Russian territory.
And then what's the average age of the Ukrainian soldier? Because they keep having to recruit new people.
Well, it's hard to say right now. Nobody has published data on that for over a year. The last we heard, it was somewhere in the mid-40s, which is an alarming figure. And my guess is that that number has gotten even worse since then. The Ukrainians have a real difficult time right now, not just bringing people into the military, but more important, training them and building them into coherent, capable military units that can do more than just stand in a trench. That's a real problem for them. And there's no easy solution short of the United States and other NATO countries actually putting our own forces on the ground in Ukraine, which would mean a direct war with Russia. And that's not something that we want to do. It's not something we should do, in my opinion.
Is there any possibility of, to use a tortured sports metaphor, like a 3 or 4 team deal involving the Chinese Communist Party, involving the mullahs in Tehran, all of which there are ongoing negotiations for various things, as you know. Is there any way of, using one as a pressure point on the other to get deals all the way around that are in America's best interests, or is that not feasible? It's just become too complicated, and we'd have to give up too much to enemies of of this country in order to get everybody on board to settle this?
Well, I think there are some subtle ways that we could bring those other countries into this situation in ways that can be helpful. What the Russians are trying to do right now is to signal to us that they can be helpful in striking a nuclear deal on Iran containing that Iranian nuclear program. And I think the Russians' hope is that that will in turn incline the U.S. to be more flexible on Ukraine, but also see the benefits of an overall improvement in U.S.-Russian relations. Now, the Chinese are an interesting one. I think we have hoped that the Chinese would put pressure on the Russians to end the war, and the Chinese have really refused to do that. But the Chinese may be able to play a role in Ukraine's economic reconstruction after a peace settlement is agreed. Now, the virtue of that is that the Russians, I think, would think twice about trying to reinvade Ukraine if there were large numbers of Chinese construction workers on the ground that would be caught in the middle of the crossfire. So that might be something we could consider as a way of disincentivizing any Russian violations of the terms of the settlement.
Well, the other aspect of that is that mineral rights deal that we struck with the Ukrainians, too. So that would tend to lead one to believe that Putin knows that he is not going to end Ukraine as a sovereign country because I think because of, in part, the posture that Trump has taken and in part the deal that he's made to protect American interests. So it seems to me at least that forestalls that possibility as this process languishes on.
Yeah, that's right. That mineral deal sends a very strong signal to Russia that the United States is not simply going to concede Ukraine as a Russian sphere of influence. We're going to be involved there in a substantial way for many years to come, and the Russians are going to have to simply accept that. We're not going to be involved militarily. The Russians get that. We don't want to be involved there militarily. But we are going to be involved diplomatically and economically. We're going to have a presence. It's not going to be Russia's sphere of influence.
Do you have any sort of sense of how protracted this process will be to get to at least a cessation of hostilities, if not a formal deal?
No, I think with a month or two of negotiations that are serious, that the United States is supporting in a serious way, there could be enough accomplished that we could put a ceasefire in place. Now, you're not going to get a comprehensive settlement of all these issues that are in play anytime soon. They're very complicated. It's going to take many months, if not years, to resolve them fully. But you can make enough progress, I think, fairly soon that you could realistically anticipate a cessation of hostilities.
George Beebe is a former director of Russia analysis at the CIA, former staff advisor to Vice President Cheney on Russia and on intelligence matters. Currently, director of grand strategy at the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft. George Beebe, thanks so much for your time and insights. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
In 2012, the Journal of Cognition and Emotion published a study that showed that we make a decision to trust a person within 100 milliseconds of seeing their face. Making a good first impression has never been more important, and you can make that positive impression with a professional headshot from Tom Killoran Photography. Whether you're a job seeker trying to land your next position, or you're looking to build your business by connecting with prospective clients and customers, you need a high-quality headshot to use with your resume, portfolio, website, or other marketing materials. The experts at Tom Killoran Photography can work with you to capture the exact look you need for your professional presentation. Tom Killoran Photography is also the official photographer for AM 560 The Answer. To learn more and to see a sample of their work, just visit KilloranPhotography.com. That's KILLORAN Photography.com, or call them at 708-361-0025. Tom Killoran Photography, capturing important life moments for over 30 years.
Reliability isn't optional when business security is on the line. It's essential. Businesses trust alarm detection systems for the highest level of service and expertise. Think about the time you could save using one source for cameras, keycard access, fire, and intrusion systems. ADS offers expert alarm installation and testing by highly trained technicians, 24/7 professional monitoring, same-day or next-day service upon request because downtime isn't an option, dedicated teams for cameras, access control, and fire alarms, more than 300 security professionals working for you. Choosing ADS means your business stays protected and will be ready to open tomorrow. They combine human monitoring with the latest AI camera technology to prevent crime in real time. ADS is trusted by small and large businesses alike, including many Chicagoland schools. Their security experts will review your system for free if you go to adsalarm.com and schedule your appointment today. That's adsalarm.com. Alarm detection systems, the first choice of Chicagoland businesses, including right here at AM 560 The Answer and Salem Media Chicago. Alarm detection systems, that website again, adsalarm.com. Alarm license 127-00143.
At AlmostFreeTeeth.com, they're dedicated to making smiles great again. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get a beautiful dental implant-supported smile. Check if you qualify right now at AlmostFreeTeeth.com.
The South Suburban Humane Society is building a better world for pets in Chicago's Southland. They provide adoption, lost-found services, and care for more than 4,000 pets a year, as well as helping pet owners with a low-cost spay-neuter clinic and low-cost vet services. Their new animal resource campus opened last year in Madison off I-57 and Lincoln Highway, with the shelter and both clinics in one location. Volunteers, fosters, adopters, and donors are greatly needed. Join our mission. Visit southsuburbanhumane.org.
A healthy fawn may be seen frolicking in its pen, a rehabilitated horse back running happily in the pasture, recovered from injury and neglect. The success of animals like these is from the dedicated volunteers at Paws Critter Crossing. Paws Critter Crossing, located here in Chicagoland, is a nonprofit rehabilitation center for injured and orphaned wildlife and a sanctuary for abused and neglected farm animals. Help PCC raise funds to continue their mission. Go to pawscrittercrossing.org. No donation is too small.
Are you planning to remodel your kitchen, bathroom, basement, or whole home? Explore why homeowners call Forever Remodeling the remodeling machine. With over 2,000 completed projects, our expert designers, project managers, and installers work together like clockwork, delivering stunning results on time and on budget. From creative design to detailed installation, we build beautiful, functional spaces without the stress. Call Forever Remodeling today at 847-809-3355 or visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your free in-home design consultation.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Bob Chavato, owner of Go Exceed and a customer of Signature Bank. By leveraging AI and machine learning, we provide data management solutions for corporations to save time and money managing their cellular devices. While we rely on machines to help us run our business, we believe personal relationships are essential. This is why we chose Signature Bank. Having a banking partner who understands our background, our business, and our priorities is fundamental to our success. Any bank can provide basic services, but having a bank that you can trust, one that looks out for you and treats your business like its own, that's irreplaceable.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, which side are you on? Which side are you on? Tell me, which side are you on?
Yeah, that's what you're going to hear on Ogden Avenue this Sunday from 12 to 2. The Hands Across Chicagoland march protest put on by the DuPage County Neo-Marxist Party. I just wanted to mention that because alternatively, our friend Dan Davies at Earthworks is hosting a Celebration of America party for the sensible at his business, Earthworks, which is 2111 Ogden Avenue in Lisle. He called in. He's organizing it. 2111 Ogden Avenue in Lisle, Earthworks. There'll be a Celebration of America. And then, you could probably see some of these leftist loons, meandering about and raise a glass to them.
Okay. Should be fun. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, why all the hostility to honky refugees from the left? We'll start there with Kentucky State poli-sci professor Will Riley. That's 8:08.
Today we're going to have warm conditions. It's going to be hot out there, but we can't rule out a severe thunderstorm late this afternoon, possible tornado. We'll keep an eye on that. A high near 90 degrees. It's 8 a.m. WIND Chicago.
It's the last stop on the Trump trip to the Middle East. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's the fanfare the president arrived to in the United Arab Emirates a short time ago, now meeting with that country's leader. On the way there, President Trump was asked on Air Force One about ceasefire talks in Turkey, where Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky showed up today, but Russian leader Vladimir Putin did not.
Nothing's going to happen until Putin and I get together, okay? And obviously he wasn't going to go. He was going to go, but he thought I was going to go. He wasn't going if I wasn't there.
Now, before leaving Qatar, there was a Trump rally with American troops.
So I'm thrilled to be here with the men and women who embody American strength and pride, the warriors of the United States Armed Forces.
The commander-in-chief at the Al Udeid Air Base. Earlier in Qatar, the president again talked about never letting Iran build nuclear weapons. Fox's Jonathan Savage reports.
There have been several rounds of talks between American and Iranian negotiators. Now a top Iranian official says his country's prepared to never make nuclear weapons and get rid of its uranium stockpiles. President Trump telling reporters the deal is sort of agreed.
Would like to see if we could solve the Iran problem in an intelligent way as opposed to a brutal way. There's only two, intelligent and brutal. Those are the two alternatives.
Next hour, the Supreme Court will consider another challenge to the president's executive actions. This case relates to his order to end birthright citizenship, not wanting to allow children born to people in the U.S. illegally to be Americans.
The court won't be deciding the final interpretation of the Constitution's 14th Amendment. That is, the guarantee of citizenship to virtually everyone born in the U.S. The issue before the justices is whether lower court judges can block presidential policies nationwide with what are known as universal injunctions.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. We just got an inflation update, and despite the warnings about tariff costs, wholesale prices dropped 0.5% last month from March, and the annual rate of producer price inflation declined in April to 2.4%. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning, 66 degrees in Chicago and AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the Goldilocks newsroom. The threat of severe weather possible this afternoon and evening. Storms could produce large hail, even an isolated tornado. The full forecast coming up. A 70-year-old man still in ICU today after being hit by an SUV on a Northside golf course. Eyewitness video capturing that SUV barreling down the fairway of Billy Caldwell Golf Course on Monday. That's when that SUV struck the golfer. Police caught up with the driver, identified as 30-year-old Torrey Gardner, who got out and wielded a knife towards police. Gardner arrested, facing multiple charges. That victim recovering in an intensive care unit at an Evanston hospital. Police have two people of interest in a McKinley Park shooting that left a 4-year-old boy fighting for his life. According to Chicago police, that boy was in a minivan along South Ashland just after 7 last night when a vehicle behind the van started shooting, then sped away. The toddler shot in the back, rushed to a nearby hospital. He's still in critical condition. Chicago PD have 2 people detained for questioning. Chicago Department of Transportation setting up speed cameras in several neighborhoods over the summer. It's part of the city's Complete Streets program. 7 cameras began serving up warnings on May 1st. Speeders will start getting tickets June 15th. Now, some of those places include Greenbrier Park, Edgewood Park, Lincoln and Rosedale Parks, and around several high schools. And a Chicago family speaking out after a Tuesday fire leaves a disabled 19-year-old woman dead. The family of Selena Surrett says she lived with cerebral palsy. CFD said that fire started just before 1:30 Tuesday afternoon at a North Park residential building on North Bernard Street. A nurse and the woman's father got out safely with just minor injuries. The family still wanting answers from that nurse's employer regarding safety training. News is a service of Goldilocks, offering Chicagoland state-of-the-art smart security systems to protect your home or business. AM 560 listeners receive 3 months of monitoring free with new installs. Get peace of mind by calling Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. Again, 708-889-5600. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes. Now time for the AM 560 Business Beat, brought to you by Signature
I'm
Bank.
Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Walmart shares are up more than 2.5%. Its sales rose 4.5% in the recent quarter. Earnings topped expectations, though revenue was disappointing. The company says its customers continue to shop cautiously, though its sales grew stronger as shoppers anticipated the impact of tariffs. Walmart is suggesting prices are going up as early as later this month. The retailer says it's doing its best to keep prices as low as possible, but given the magnitude of tariffs, even at reduced levels announced this week, it wasn't able to absorb all the pressure. Foot Locker shares up 83% after Dick's Sporting Goods agreed to buy the athletic shoe retailer for about $2.4 billion. The deal's seen as giving Dick's more international business. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola. Invested in you.
Now, don't get suckered into the same old free phone game by Big Wireless. That comes with a lot of fine print, plus. Oh, in other words, you pay more. At the end of the day, you paid for that, quote, free phone 3 times over. There is a better way. Pure Talk, my cell phone provider, a veteran-owned company, my sponsor, my wireless company, has a much better offer. A free phone with a qualifying plan for just $35 a month, and you get a brand new Samsung Galaxy A26. Just make the switch to Pure Talk for $35 a month. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot and roaming, all on America's most dependable 5G network. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk, and Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team will help you make the switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, just dial pound 250, say the keyword Pure Talk for your free Samsung Galaxy with qualifying plan when you make the switch to Pure Talk. Wireless by Americans for Americans.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. I've added another burner to my very large collection of defense products. Why? Because Burner just launched their new compact launcher, the smallest, most compact launcher to date, and I'll be taking it with me everywhere I go. It's the same size as a smartphone, allowing you to conceal, carry comfortably and with confidence. It fires 400 feet per second with 41 joules per square inch of stopping power. The size is perfect for women who want protection but can't carry a firearm. It's equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammunition. It's designed to incapacitate an attacker for 30 to 40 minutes. And Burner is legal in all 50 states. There's no background check required. It can be shipped directly to your door. And Burner is trusted by hundreds of police departments and government agencies worldwide. And Burner is proudly American, each unit hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Visit byrna.com today, or you can simply try before you buy by finding a Burner dealer and a partner near you. That's byrna.com.
Starting to see some braking now on the outbound Edens between Cicero and Church. It'll be a 23-minute drive from Montrose to Lake Cook. Inbound Kennedy, still a 45-minute drive from Montrose to the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound, you're looking at 30 to 35 minutes from the loop up to Montrose, and then tack on another 20 to get to O'Hare from Montrose. Inbound Eisenhower, still 45 minutes from Wolf to the post office, 30 of that coming between 25th and Central Park. It's a 35-minute drive from the post office to Wolf this morning on the outbound Eisenhower. 55 minutes still from the Tri-State to Lakeshore on the inbound Stevenson, with the heaviest delays coming between First Avenue and Cicero. That'll be a 30-minute drive by itself this morning. Traffic is a service of Fox Valley Coins. Traffic is a service of Fox Valley Coins. No waiting, no problems, no charge for in-store verbal appraisals. Bring your gold or silver in today. FoxValleyCoins.com. In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Brian White.
Clouds and some sun. A severe thunderstorm late this afternoon. Breezy warm. We could see some downpours and damaging wind, even an isolated tornado. High today 89. Breezy this evening, a gusty thunderstorm, then some clearing tonight, low 62. A thunderstorm for tomorrow, the high 89. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Forever Remodeling. Stress-free and high-quality remodeling. View their stunning transformations online at the number 4everremodeling.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Why all the hostility? Why all the hostility from the left for a dozen honky families, Afrikaners from South Africa, who've been allowed to enter the United States as refugees because they are under a legitimate threat of political violence? I mean, Julius Malema, the leader of that paramilitary offshoot of the ANC called EFF. I mean, he's called for the genocide of the Boer, the farmer, in stadiums with throngs, thousands and thousands of people.
Cheering him on, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he sort of middles and says, well, I'm not calling for white genocide yet, but there will have to be violence to complete the revolution, where there are instances of farmers who have been hurt or murdered. The land is being expropriated by the government. So, I mean, that's like center cut for why we have asylum laws. And yet, this is sort of the tenor of what you're getting. I'm not using one of the officially sanctioned pundits because they were some flunky on the Obama or Biden campaign. This is just a regular sort of middle-aged black woman who has quite a following on TikTok, apparently. She goes under the handle Your Favorite Corporate Auntie. Listen to this.
Good morning. This is for the South Africans who are going to be entering the United States. This is just a public service announcement. I just wanted to make you aware that the black people who were students during apartheid, we're grandmas and grandpas now, and we have the air of Gen Z. Mm-hmm. One more thing. I also want to let you know that our president, he has Secret Service, and you will not. Mm-hmm. I also want to tell you that black people over here are empowered. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. These are just public service announcements. When you get here, sit your ass down and don't touch nothing. Because you don't have Secret Service. Okay. Now have the day you deserve.
Gee, is that some sort of threat? By the way, black people are empowered in South Africa now, too. They're in charge of the government. Huh. It's just this attitude. I've tired of this attitude from the identitarians, and then we're supposed to make these efforts and overtures to cater to these goons. And anybody who advocates violence like that is a goon. I don't care if they're male or female. It's just this antagonism that the race hustlers have infused into, I don't know what percentage, but it's not an inconsequential percentage of the population across the racial divides. I'll give you another example. This black woman commenting on a story we talked about a little bit earlier this week, that 12-foot statue of a nondescript black woman in Times Square that's supposed to be some sort of seminal moment in the history of art. And ironically, listen to her, when ironically the artist himself, who she references, talked about the statue as sort of a unifying piece. That was the part of the message that this piece of art was supposed to send. And yet this is the characterization by a fan of the statue.
They chose us before they put a 12-foot man. That's good. They would have never did that. New York is really lit. I love my city. We used to have colonizers and slave owners as statues. On 14th Street, Union Square, and 42nd Street, they had George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. We yanked them bitches down. Now there's George Floyd and that black lady. Love it. Anytime somebody fixed their teeth to say something disrespectful about a black woman, is your statue there? I don't see a statue that look like you there. I'm cool with that statue. That's power.
Why the hostility? For more on this, please be joined by our friend Will Riley, Associate Professor of Political Science at Kentucky State University, author of Lies My Liberal Teacher Told Me, Debunking the False Narratives Defining America's School Curricula. Will, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
Why so angry?
Yeah, in terms of this statue thing, I mean, I think the symbols you pick as a society do kind of represent where you are and what you value. And I mean, I think you really saw that in the last comment from sort of that random lady where she says they used to have statues of these evil people that were slave owners and colonizers, like Abraham Lincoln. Leaving aside the historical inaccuracies there is a deep narrative of truth. Like, we used to value the people that built the country. And I think most people, like, I'm a black guy, actually. I think most people understand that there is but I mean, I think most people understand that there's an element of violence in history when people had different rules. The leaders and warriors of the United States followed the old rules. So did the great Iroquois chiefs. So did the British people we fought, the Turks, so on down the line. But within that era, there were a lot of great people that built the country. And that's why you have a statue of John Lafitte, a French pirate captain or something like that. Now, today, we've moved away from that, and we have kind of statues of nothing. Like, that's not the statue of Harriet Tubman or something. I mean, you guys could name your favorite black female humans. It's just a statue of a random, angry-looking, overweight lady. And that's kind of the point. Like, what we are celebrating right now is kind of the random, angry-looking citizen of the country. And in New York, that person happens to be black. There's actually a deep symbolism to that, like, all banter aside.
Well, right, and it's also celebrating, I mean, sort of, and it's reflective in our other mediating institutions, too. You write a lot about K through 12 education and higher education, for that matter, but it's celebration of mediocrity. I mean, it's just it's like eliminating honor courses at the Palo Alto schools.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. I mean, so right, the goal of presenting what your society values is kind of illustrating and defining what that is. And a lot of people have pointed this out. I mean, I've seen you do it on the air. The conservative commentator Ben Shapiro did it. I just sort of did it. But again, this isn't a statue of a famous or notable person. It's a statue of a random, angry-looking person who's a bit chubby, looks like they're going to go talk to the manager. And right now, that is kind of the ethos of the USA. Like, we are the most powerful country in the world, and we seem kind of embarrassed by it. And we keep constantly talking about all this random loser crap. What would be the best way to remove the giant homeless encampments in our streets without ever mentally harming anyone, and so on down the line. And we're now trying to figure out what we can celebrate in this age. And my personal advice would be to just junk all of this fake moral crap and celebrate the best and most accomplished people, because that motivates everyone else. No one wants to see out-of-shape supermodels or something like that, but go 5, 6 NBA basketball players. The goal in life is to compete to see who's the best to some extent, and then promote those things that make you the best at whatever it is that you do.
Yes. Right. I mean, you want to have a statue of a fat black woman. I have it of Aretha Franklin or something. I don't know, but
that's a good choice.
But that's the point. It's sort of this is just like art attacking the meritocracy, another mediating institution attacking sort of the culture that built the nation. And so it's not about black women are mediocre. No, it's about just it's right. Of course not. It's about, exactly what you said. What a society celebrates, it begets. And we're celebrating these things that are not worthy of celebration, at least not consistent with how we became that most powerful nation.
Yeah, and I mean, it's important to remember, like, black people, you just said, obviously, black women aren't, mediocre at every case or something like that. Of course not. We're not neither of us is a racist. But black people also aren't magic. Like, there's nothing worth celebrating about just being black. Like, and you shouldn't feel any shame. I understand black power when you're talking about, like, Brother Malcolm. It comes out of it 5 years after segregation or something. But there's no such thing as black person magic. You're not going to take you're not going to build a 12-foot statue of an Irish guy in a wife beater, with a Bulls 1996 championship replica ring on his hand. I mean, that's as Chicagoan as anything. But you're not going to put that downtown. Like, come on. You can just go to Bridgeport and see that guy.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with black people. It's the same thing with Mexicans and Puerto Ricans. They're all just people. So we do need to stop this deification of just random people in certain large groups.
Take that Jordan statue out front of the United Center and put some random Irish guy.
They're the only statues we have. Jordan, then if you go to Wrigley Field, you have Ernie Banks. And,
well, it's good. They should be there.
Ryan Sandberg, and that's it, because all the other statues have been taken down.
That itself is crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Now, what about to tackle the Afrikaners issue too, and your favorite corporate auntie who basically just like 15 degrees hotter than former Obama administration officials that are populating the desks at CNN and MSNBC, saying more or less the same thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, first of all, I don't really have any... I think that this is a total non-story, actually. Like, it just broken down a group of people from a country that's probably going to have a bloody race war in the next 10 years, are getting out ahead of the conflict, and are coming in as refugees. They're not even refugees, they're asylum seekers. So, on the one level, this doesn't matter at all. I mean, my guess would be that they, and for that matter, black South Africans, would probably acclimate pretty quickly. I mean, these are English-speaking Christian people from a prosperous country. You've seen the pictures of them. They just look like regular families.
Yeah.
So there's no issue there. I think that there's something deep about the reaction to this, though, from the same people that have been claiming, like, every master carpenter from Mexico City is a refugee for the past 10 years. I'll actually say one thing here as a political scientist. There are almost no refugees because there are only 3 wars going on right now. You might correct me on one of these, but it's Ukraine, Russia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Israel, Palestine. For a lot of reasons, we're probably not taking in that many refugees from the Gaza Strip. But beyond that, I don't see a lot of Armenians coming over here with backpacks. Anyone that is claiming they're a refugee from Mexico, Poland, Nigeria, Jamaica, the countries we're getting a lot of people from, is just lying. I mean, so that's the background of the refugee resettlement crisis in the first place. The South Africans strike me as legitimate as everyone else. But the backlash to them kind of illustrates what the goal is here. Like, a lot of people on the left have pretty openly said, we do want to do what you could describe as the quote-unquote great replacement. Like, we would like a more liberal voting, which is the real issue. Probably more non-white, more feminist, which is going to really backlash and hit them, but whatever, electorate. And we're going to let in people that we think support that cause. And when you have a bunch of conservative South Africans, the hysterical reaction illustrates that all of this asylum seeker stuff wasn't really about helping asylum seekers. It was about changes to kind of the demographic profile of the USA. Like, you got a bunch of white Republican guys. Those aren't the refugees we wanted. So you start seeing this hysteria about, no refuge for racist, I think is the term they're going to use, this kind of thing.
You want to hear something crazy? We're learning this morning that the former Sheraton Hotel on Lakeshore Drive, it's in the Hyde Park neighborhood, predominantly black neighborhood. They're now going to join in forces. They're going to have 700 homeless people and illegals in the same building. They're going to live together. without in harmony, and the residents get no debate on it. There could be countless consequences. I mean, what do you think of that idea?
I think it's completely insane. Like when I went to Manhattan recently, and there is an element of privilege to this, but whatever. Like you should have privilege if you can afford to stay in the hotel. Like this is something that's happened with a lot of the luxury hotels. So like you'll come in with a bag on a business trip to close a sale or make a speech or something, and you'll be next door to like the deputy minister from Turkey, and then across the street there'll be a crazy guy who throws plates all night. So you literally have done this stunt in several cities where you've taken hundreds of homeless people, bums an older generation would call them, and a lot of illegal immigrants, who are often quite nice people, by the way, like they just don't speak English. And you've put them in these luxury communities. And I mean, my comment would be like, there's a legitimate cause for complaint if you're in, I think that's now a condo building, as I recall. But if you're an upscale professional, whether you're black or white, and your building, which only has 1,200 units, moves in 700 crazy people, I would imagine that's grounds for a lawsuit, like loss of amenities or something like that. That's an extremely bizarre thing we're doing, as versus tiny houses or just sending the cops out, rounding up people that are living outside and throwing them in the Cook County jail, which is what every sane society did until about 10 years ago.
And for something completely different, as I find this so interesting, are you auditioning to do like a Dear Will relationship advice column?
Ooh, that'd be good.
Because I read this.
Actually, I was.
Go ahead.
Go on.
No.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Actually, I've been asked to be an advice columnist for an interesting range of periodicals, from Queer Majority to I think it was Women's Day. After giving some of my basic relationship advice on Twitter, most of which was at the level of you should have a job as a man, or your partner should sometimes want to sleep with you, or there's a real problem.
Very controversial.
Apparently, a lot of this is considered radical in the modern and post-feminist environment.
Well, I was reading some. I do this segment where I talk about why I'm single, and then there's myriad reasons. This is some very good advice that you give. I just was perusing this. For example, don't take dating advice from incels, the involuntarily celibate. That seems sensible. But you give us some of those other nuggets that we could employ for those who are having trouble forging a relationship.
Well, the first one was written as a joke, but is a very serious piece of advice. Like, you actually shouldn't take dating advice from incels or radical feminists. And this is a problem. Like, if you go on Twitter or Facebook, you'll see a lot of the worst advice that I've ever seen. Like the kind of PG-13 comment that I made comes from a lengthy feminist debate thread titled something like, "You have no responsibility to sexually satisfy your partner." The guys do the same stuff. Andrew Tate who's sometimes amusing, but is the obvious example of the guy like driving shirtless in a Bugatti talking about the way to get women is to be cruel to them. Oh my gosh. And I tend to suspect that a lot of these people aren't actually doing that well with members of the opposite sex that they don't have to pay. I mean, like, I looked up Julie Bindel and some of the feminist women behind the debate on their side, and like every profile was like a lesbian political philosopher based in Belgium. I don't think that's who young women should look to for heterosexual dating advice. Similarly for the guys, like there are pages like incel.is, which literally mean involuntarily celibate. And I don't mean to be like barroom crude, but if you're not getting laid and you're not married, you probably shouldn't be telling men about what women like because you don't know it. It'd be far better to listen to your dad. Who kept your mom reasonably happy for 35 years. But I mean, the tips in the article are very simple. I mean,
this one, I don't know. I don't know if I can sign this. You should like your partner. I mean, that seems a bit aggressive. I mean, I'm not ready to make that kind of commitment.
A lot of unmarried men aren't. I mean, there's actually a decent case for bachelorhood if you're a successful guy, but we're talking about morality here.
Oh, wait. Make the decent case for bachelorhood.
If you're a successful guy. Sounds like Dan Proft, but go on.
Yeah, I need some support.
Well, the case for bachelorhood, if you're a successful guy, is simply that you can, in today's Tinder environment, date several women at once with very little commitment and get most of the benefits of marriage with none of the cost.
Oh, that sounds like a hot mess, Wilford. I mean, women are
Boy.
crazy.
Yeah, but
They'll
Will
get
Riley
jealous and their
promoting free
claws
love.
will come out.
Yeah, so I mean that's the flip side. Obviously, like there are many great. So I mean, you people ask me to give the obvious reason why successful men stay unmarried, but I advocate for marriage in the article. You know, married men are in general healthier. They live a year and a half longer. They're happier. By the way, married women also report much better sex lives. They report much more comfort with their partner than going out to nightclubs and looking for someone who'll treat you well. The big thing also, if we're being blunt about this, the average married woman triples her income. So, like, women do quite well these days, but if you're an HR manager and you and your boyfriend, a lawyer, decide to commit, you all of a sudden go from, say, the $90,000 a year income range to $270,000, something like that. The suburbs become an option, more kids become an option. So there are very practical reasons that people form these bonds. And so that's, I guess the one thing I'll say seriously is that's kind of the two-part pitch in the article, right? So part one is basically like you should like the person you're with. Don't allow yourself to be embarrassed, humiliated, actual abuse is awful. But the second part is, okay, given that you like your partner, what do you have to do to make a marriage work? And I point out that there obviously are norms and expectations in an adult relationship. Like you're going to have a certain number of, let's say, date nights, weekly or monthly. You are expected, especially as a man, to have a job. There's certain things that you're going to do for each other. You're going to interact with one another's families, and you're going to act like you like them. So there's the two-parter. Like, one, I mean, people don't love their mothers-in-law, I mean, generally.
This sounds very demanding. Yeah.
Dan's like, I'm not doing it. But get it out of here. But the two-part thing, though, is absolutely serious. Like, you have to pick someone you like. Don't allow, especially for the women, abuse, humiliation, anything like that. But once you do that, you have to recognize that for your partner not to be miserable, you have to do a certain amount of emotional things, physical things. You have to share money. 95% of couples have a joint checking account. And telling people that this isn't true, like you have no duty to sexually or emotionally satisfy your partner, that's really, really stupid. And a lot of young people believe this. Like, I will never do anything that I am not enthusiastically, affirmatively, provably geeked out about. And the reality is that in a marriage where you have two kids, that would mean you guys talk to each other 3 times a week. Like, that's not workable.
All right,
So
for the lovelorn out there, send your letters to Will Riley, Dear Will, care of Kentucky State University. Will Riley, Associate Professor Poli-Sci and relationship expert at Kentucky State University, author of Lies My Liberal Teacher Told Me, Debunking the False Narratives Defining America's School Curricula. Will, we look forward to having you back for particularly more dating advice.
Sounds good. I'm always glad to help those in search or whatever we
those in need. Yes, right. Very
those
good.
in need.
Thanks, Will.
All right, thank
All right.
you.
Have a good one.
You too, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to, John Adams, CEO, founder of Liberty Cigars. We'll talk about who's providing the cigars for our cigar nights next week with Larry Elder. We'll talk about Liberty Cigars and cigar nights, and I think we have a couple of tickets still hanging around if people want to join us Wednesday or Thursday next week. John Adams at 8:38.
But first, let's head back into that newsroom. Here's John Cruz.
Thank you so much. Good morning. 67 degrees in Chicago and AM 560 The Answer. I'm John Cruz in the Quick Delivery Service newsroom. Possible severe weather late this afternoon into the evening. We'll get your full forecast coming up in a few minutes. High of 86 today. 4 people recovering after a head-on crash Wednesday in the west suburbs. This happened late Wednesday near Route 72 and Ingle Road in Hampshire Township. 3 people had to be extricated from their vehicle. 1 person in critical condition at this hour. Police have 2 people in custody tied to a McKinley Park shooting last night that left a 4-year-old fighting for his life. Chicago PD says that 4-year-old was in a minivan full of kids when a vehicle behind them fired shots, then sped away. Those 2 people are being questioned at this hour. And state transportation leaders are giving an update on how transit negotiations are coming along. This after Illinois lawmakers say they have until the end of the month to address a $771 million shortfall. Now, without it, public transit agencies in the Chicago area and across the state will face major cuts starting as early as June, and at least 4 of 8 CTA train lines would be reduced or eliminated next year. News, a service of Quick Delivery Service. Visit quickdelivery.com when you need same-day delivery of your routes, ground delivery when you need it from safe, licensed professionals. Go to quickdelivery.com now to schedule your delivery. Traffic coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Wow. At the time of this being written, both gold and silver are up some 40%. That's 40% in just 1 year. In fact, this past year, gold has broken all-time historic records by hundreds of dollars an ounce. And unlike all other financial instruments used today, that historic record goes back thousands of years. In times like these, prices have never been better on most collector and gold coins. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is trying to keep up with demand. So they're paying the most ever on not only most gold coins and bars, but also those old coin and paper money collections. They're especially looking for the scarcer dates and higher grade coins. Take advantage of the record high market price and our huge demand now, whether you're buying or selling, or just want to find out their worth. Fox Valley Coins is the place to go. Fox Valley Coins is on Route 59, just 1 light north of I-88 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. Family owned, integrity since 1981.
8 years. It has been 8 years since QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain. Hi, Amy Jacobson here, and this is remarkable. Using regenerative cell therapy to restore tissue in your achy joints. These are biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joint. Listen, it's a powerful and potent way to give your joints the new life and repairing old tissue. Best part, there's no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. This is an all-natural option with lasting relief. Imagine doing all the things you enjoyed this summer without joint pain. Here's what I want you to do. Contact my good friends at QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation. You have nothing to lose. Saturday appointments available. The number to call is 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Some big news. Iran is threatening to wipe Israel off the map and destroy America. Now, UN inspectors say Iran is close to getting nuclear weapons, just weeks away. But President Trump vows he won't let them. He's even moved 2 aircraft carriers to the area. This is a big story, and Newsmax's Rob Finnerty is covering it all this week and exposing the real threat. Tune in at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight for Rob's series Stop Iran and find out Trump's secret plan to fix this. Watch Finnerty on Newsmax on all major cable systems. President Trump says he watches Newsmax all the time. You should too. So download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone and sign up for Newsmax Plus to watch us anytime, anywhere. Millions are making the switch to Newsmax because it's real news for real people.
It is a messy morning on the Kennedy. Inbound, you're looking at a 50-minute drive from Montrose to the Burns Circle interchange and tack on an extra 20 minutes on top of that if you're coming from O'Hare. It's over an hour now from O'Hare into the loop on the inbound Kennedy. Outbound, it's 30 to 35 minutes from the loop to Montrose, and then another 20 minutes on top of that from there out to O'Hare this morning. Inbound Eisenhower, looking at over a 45-minute drive, upwards of 50 now from Wolf to the post office. 30 to 40 minutes of that coming between 25th and Ogden. Outbound, it's about 30 minutes from the post office out to Wolf this morning. Inbound Stevenson, still looking at about 40 minutes, although it may be getting a little bit better from the Tri-State to Lakeshore, with the worst of it coming between Harlem and Kedzie. That'll cost you about 25 minutes. Inbound Dan Ryan, not terrible, about 25 minutes this morning. Traffic is a service of ExpressPros.com. If you're ready for a new job, let Express Employment Professionals help you. Express is already hiring for summer jobs in a variety of industries. Job seekers never pay a fee at Express. Go to ExpressPros.com to find your location. That's ExpressPros.com. In the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, I'm Brian White.
Clouds and sun, severe thunderstorm today. We could see some downpours and damaging wind. Isolated tornado, high 89. A gusty thunderstorm this evening, then some clearing, low 62. Windy and warm, sun and clouds, a thunderstorm tomorrow, the high 89. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Cigar nights, plural, for the first time. Next week, Wednesday at Gobert's Farm in Pingree Grove. And then Thursday night, so that's north, and Thursday we're south at Gaelic Park. You can, and then of course Larry Elder is the featured attraction, and then Sean and I will be there as his
sidekicks.
Yeah, sidekicks,
exactly.
Basically. Yeah, exactly.
Fluffers. And then Friday night is
fluffers.
Kifnis at. Are we going to go to the Kifnis concert?
I think I got to get back. I don't think I'm going to be able to make Kifnis, unfortunately.
Oh,
if Elder wants to stay for Kifnis, maybe I'll
go for the crew.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe get him on the show.
And then you're going to be there to park cars
right.
on
I'm doing
Wednesday and
valet.
Thursday.
Yeah,
make a little side cash.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Elder Cigar Night, 21st and 22nd, Wednesday and Thursday next week. Gobert's on Wednesday, Gaelic Park on Thursday. You can buy tickets. I think we still have a few tickets available. I know VIP sold out, but I think we have a couple left.
We do. We have a few tickets left. And so don't buy them now, because do not call me or text me like, oh, I was running later. I had this and that. We're all busy. So don't ask for tickets. Well, I hate when people, like the day of, oh, I forgot, or I thought my cousin's friend was going to buy me tickets to this, and can you get me in? Because this has gotten me in trouble in the past. So I'm just putting people on notice now.
Oof.
Get your tickets today.
Rough.
Yeah.
That's how she used to do it when she subbed at Farragut.
Yeah.
560theanswer.com/cigar. 560theanswer.com/cigar is where you buy tickets, so you don't have to bother Amy. She can't be bothered.
I just can't. I'm too busy.
Yeah.
Well, we're all busy. And then don't show up late with a Starbucks in your hands. It's like, well, you had time to stop at Starbucks, so why are you late?
Are there any other rules that you want to impose on patrons for the cigar nights?
Just bring your own lighter, too. That would.
I think they'll have lighters on site.
All right. Well, I don't know how it works, and women do go to this event.
Yeah.
Someday I will go.
John Adams is the CEO and founder of Liberty Cigars.
Oh, I like the name.
Liberty Cigars will be providing the cigars for Cigar Night. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I need to make sure I write down Amy's rules. I gotta by myself, I think.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to? You want to impose some mandates as well?
Sorry.
Oh gosh, no. Cigars are supposed to be relaxing. You just be free. That's all I'm telling you.
That's
100%.
why I'm not going.
100%. Yeah, you got to chill. Tell us the Liberty Cigar story first and foremost.
Well, we take seminal people in American history and honor them with a cigar. Each cigar mirrors their personality. So George Washington, for instance, is big and bold like he was. The Madison is diminutive in size, in character with his being 5'3" and 100 pounds. He had a mild disposition but a brilliant mind, and we try to replicate that in our cigars. We've got many series. We have the Founder Series, which has 13 founding fathers in it, and we have the Commander Series, which is George Washington and 10 of his commanders. We even have Benedict Arnold in that series, although we put his band upside down. We had to honor him for his victory at Saratoga, without which the French would not have entered the war. But we had to give him a little poke in the eye there. So we've got a naval series, and we've got some other series coming out here soon.
If you were to make a cigar in honor of Sean Thompson, what would that cigar? How would you describe that cigar?
Well, it wouldn't be an exploding kind, but it would be robust. We'll call it that.
What about a Dan Proft cigar?
Well, I think for Sean, if I could just make a suggestion,
of course.
Maybe you do a special edition, be more like a cigarillo to represent his manhood.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Dig.
Yeah, shot across the bow.
What about
Shots
a Dan
fired.
Proft cigar?
Well, it would be bold, just like he was just a moment ago. Obviously, he's got to back up his words there. So I would make it larger than life. How about
Very, very Washington-esque, yes, right.
Well, how have cigars been used as a symbol of political power or freedom?
Well, I will tell you this. A lot of the John Adams, for instance, my namesake, smoked cigars. He was the first to smoke them in the White House, of course, being the first occupant. But Calvin Coolidge used them to get his legislation and his will done. He would take a 12-inch cigar and invite members of Congress to the Oval Office there and light his cigar up, turn his chair around so that all you can see is the blue smoke wafting above his head. And he would, because it was the president was lighting a cigar, everybody else did the same, and they were huge cigars, literally a foot long, and that was his ploy to make sure that they did not leave until they had done his bidding, and so they couldn't leave until he finished his cigar, and he would take his time. That's one example.
Another is, and I don't know if you have an Ike cigar, Dwight D. Eisenhower, but
I do.
Oh, you do?
Oh, you do.
So I don't know if you've been there. I have not, but I've heard the story. Someday, maybe if I'm lucky, I'll play Burning Tree in D.C.
Oh.
In D.C. But they had, Eisenhower did his business from the golf club, and they have kept everything in Eisenhower's room at Burning Tree like it was, up until his passing, including the ashtray and cigar that he smoked.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah, I have one of his cigars actually. I'll if I remember, I'll bring it with me for Wednesday and Thursday nights.
Oh my God! Getting a text message. Amy, hey, I'm just getting back from Arizona. Can you get me a ticket for cigar night?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you go to 560answer.com/cigar. Probably wants a free one because he's a friend of Amy and thinks like I can just freeload on Amy. Yeah, maybe.
Just thought I'd interject there.
All right. Well, so wait, now you got me off track. Oh, Bill Clinton cigar. Do
Yes.
you have one of those?
I do not.
Yeah. I understand.
I think it's a bit. We don't have a salacious line.
I don't think that would be a good seller, at least not to smoke.
No.
Yeah. So wait. So tell us about the cigars themselves and how you started this business. Not an easy business to start.
No, it's very difficult. The regulatory. I'm headed to customs right now. My cigars. In fact, some of the cigars for Wednesday and Thursday night are in customs right now. But I'm headed that way as we speak. But we were founded 10 years ago this July 4th. So we've been in business 10 years. I would sit around the fire, smoke a cigar, and talk to some of my friends and tell them obscure stories about American history that none of them had ever heard of, including the characters, Israel Putnam, Daniel Morgan, etc. And then one day it just hit me that I needed to tell the story. So every cigar has a story to tell. That's essentially the nutshell. But our anniversary coincides with the 250th anniversary of some of the seminal events in American history. For instance, we're coming up on the Battle of Bunker Hill, which is June 17th. Washington took command of the Continental Army on June the 15th. So a lot of auspicious days coming up.
So where's the leaf from?
The tobacco's from all over the world. Our factory, a friend of mine owns the factory in the Dominican Republic. So they're from Sumatra, Peru, Nicaragua, Honduras, of course, the Dominican. We've got leaf from all over the world, and we blend those. That's how we get our blends just right.
So do you have to go to customs every time that you get a shipment in? Tell us how it works.
Well, usually it comes in through customs. And they can sit on it. Sometimes it's quick. Most of the time it's not. And then DHL brings them to Beaufort, South Carolina, where we have a sort of warehouse of sorts. And then I pick them up there.
Wow. No, Beaufort's a good spot. Boy, that's a nice area.
Oh, it's beautiful down there. Yeah.
Good golf. All right. So people, how do they get your cigars? LibertyCigars.com. Any place else?
.com, and we're just launching our wholesale program coming up this June. In fact, we've got about 20 stores. We're gonna start small, and at that point, there's some in Mississippi, some in Ohio, some in Pennsylvania, but none in Chicago as yet. But you can get them online, And we have about 120 cigars, only 60 of which are represented online. So I would encourage people to email us at orders@libertycigars.com, and they can ask. For instance, we have that Eisenhower. It's a fantastic cigar, and it's not yet on the website.
And is so you're going to do you're going to do like retail like Rocky Patel?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So it's cigar lounges in addition to stores, or just stores?
We're going to do just stores.
Okay.
At the moment. Actually, I should correct myself. No, we have several lounges that we're going to be in, but we're going to do a small lounge in Alabama where we are now.
Oh, cool. Well, that's good. So business must be going pretty well.
Yeah, we grow about 25 to 30% a year, and we keep it that way so we can age our cigars and maintain the inventory properly. But we're that's our preferred growth trajectory.
So is it your understanding that because the cigar business is cyclical and a lot of it has to do with the economy, it seems to me, but it was a rage in the 90s and sort of fell off, and now it seems to be back. It seems to be an industry that's growing now. Do you agree? Is that right?
I do. I think the Karens of the world, and I don't know what the appropriate male name is, but there are those who turn their noses down at folks. I think people are tired of being told what to do, and cigars are I'm writing a book called The Virtuous Vice, the 10 Virtues of Cigar Smoking, and there's so many great attributes to smoking a cigar. Camaraderie. I mean, I'm going to meet, I guess, 500 or 600 people that I've never, rarely seen, if ever, Wednesday, Thursday night in Chicago, and it brings us together, brings a lot of folks together, yourself included, and so we're that's one of the attributes of cigar smoking. I think people are realizing that the stress of the world is difficult, to say the least, and a cigar ameliorates that stress in a way that not many things do.
As I often cite, and I'm sure you know, as Kipling observed, a woman is just a woman, but a cigar is a smoke, and that's true.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember you saying that before, and that's it's held true this long, so it must be true.
Must be true. John Adams is the CEO and founder of Liberty Cigars. LibertyCigars.com to order, and you can email him for their full complement of cigars if you don't see something that interests you in what is on their website, LibertyCigars.com. And then you can meet John, talk more about cigars and American history. Wednesday and Thursday next week, to get tickets to our cigar nights featuring Larry Elder, you go to 560theanswer.com/cigar. Thanks, cigars. John Adams, thanks so much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you next week.
I appreciate it. Looking forward as well. You guys take care.
Yeah, you too. I enjoyed your story. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, Amy Jacobson here. With the crime we're seeing in Illinois, I know how important it is to keep my home and my family safe. That's why I chose Goldilocks for my home security. One of their awesome technicians just came over and gave me a free assessment of my home. They found vulnerabilities that intruders typically look for and created a personalized plan for me. Goldilocks offers state-of-the-art smart home security systems with HD cameras, motion detectors, smart locks, mobile notifications. As you know, crime in Illinois is out of control, and I'll sleep easier knowing that Goldilocks has my back. They even offer commercial security systems for any size business. Tell them Amy Jacobson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months of monitoring for free with any new install. Call Goldilocks today at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com. That's GoldilocksInc.com.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews in Family Legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Come hungry to Scott Tucker Solutions Night at Portillo's, benefiting the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. Join us Thursday, May 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at Portillo's in Niles at 8832 West Dempster Street and use the cashier code Portillo's20. The night's bill is on Scott Tucker, and you eating free Portillo's helps support the families of fallen and disabled Chicago police officers and their families via the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. Enjoy your favorites, hot dogs, Italian beef, and chocolate cake. Scott Tucker is picking up the check, and Portillo's is donating 20% of gross sales to the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. So bring your appetite to Scott Tucker Solutions Night at Portillo's. It's Thursday, May 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Portillo's in Niles at 8832 West Dempster Street. And make sure to use the cashier code Portillo's20. Eat well and come out and run up Scott Tucker's bill and support the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation. We'll see you there. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 Golf Outing, presented by Signature Bank. And this year, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responder and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Wednesday, June 18th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing campaign, which includes 25 one-minute commercials to air on AM 560 Monday through Friday between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m., and a free digital marketing analysis. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Trump International Hotel and Tower Chicago, Suburban Welding and Steel, and by Monarch Technical Recruiting Services.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, long overdue. Pete Rose reinstated. He's now eligible for the Hall of Fame.
And Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Shoeless Joe and a bunch of other Black Sox as well. Shoeless Joe, who hit 375 in the 1919 World Series.
Of course, you remember that.
Yes. Did not throw the series. And other Black Soxers, too, eligible. And it was interesting what Manfred did, the MLB commissioner. He basically said, because these people are all deceased that were reinstated, there were 17, because they're deceased, they can no longer harm the game, quote unquote. So this was the way he got it back in. But Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Any disagreement on that? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. So should Shoeless Joe, no question about it. But some of the others, I read some anecdotes about some of these other players that were banned from baseball.
Yeah.
Benny Koff.
Benny Koff. What was his batting average?
311.
Oh my gosh, you really remember that?
Koff was the first player banned from baseball for a reason other than working with gamblers to fix outcomes. He was accused of stealing a car, repainting it, and selling it with his brother in December of 1919.
Awesome. That's awesome.
He denied the charges. A jury acquitted him, but he received a lifetime ban from baseball anyway. Could you imagine?
Oh my
being
gosh,
banned
he
from
didn't
baseball for stealing? Well, first of all, nobody playing Major League Baseball has to steal anything because they get paid so handsomely.
Not back then, they didn't, but still.
No, I know.
Right. But if he was acquitted by a jury, then he should be reinstated in baseball. They found him not guilty.
I hear you.
Tell me, sister. I want him back now.
I'm with you.
Poor guy. What did he do with the rest of his life? Did he live in a gutter? Did he steal more cars?
He died in 1961 at the age of 71 years old. Boy, that's a little bit rough.
Oh, that's horrible.
This is another. This is so funny. These start.
Okay,
in 100 years. 1920. Phil Douglas. 1922. While playing for the New York Giants, he was suspended over a dispute with team owner John McGraw. He'd won a World Series with the team prior. While suspended, Douglas wrote a letter to a player on another team saying he would accept money to abandon the Giants so they would lose games. Banned for life, even though he had a 2.80 ERA over his 9-year career.
Oh.
And he died brokenhearted in 1952 at the tender age of 62.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, tell me more. Is there somebody else?
William Cox, lumber entrepreneur, owned the Phillies for 276 days before becoming the first non-player to be banned from baseball. The team's manager, Bucky Harris, said he heard Cox's secretary asking about betting odds and asked her if Cox was gambling on games. According to Harris, she said it was common knowledge within the Phillies that Cox was. He eventually admitted to making bets, but he said he didn't know it was against the rules to do so. All right. Quickly, Ron, and on the South Side, baseball fan.
Dan, and first of all, I really don't care too much about the Baseball Hall of Fame anymore after that fiasco with the great Dick Allen. But and I hope he still doesn't get voted in. But I don't understand the reasoning. Commissioner, he said that he can't do any harm to the game. He broke the most card rule. You know what it reminds me of? When they say a person is old and they should be released from prison because they can't harm anybody. That's why you were there. That's why.
All right, Ron. We'll let you have the last word on Pete Rose. We'll pick it up tomorrow.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks to George Hoffman and Quinn McCarthy. Sunshine, thunderstorm later this afternoon, a high of 90. It's 9 a.m. WIND, Chicago.
A big Trump case at the Supreme Court. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It's about to start right now, considering birthright citizenship, which is in the Constitution, but President Trump issued an order not allowing it for kids born here to parents in the U.S. illegally. On Truth Social, the president wrote it's a scam, and they laugh at us for being suckers. That order's been blocked by several judges, and that's what today's hearing's about.
That broader question of whether these district court judges, there's 600 to 700 of them at any one time, can actually have the power to shut down a policy nationwide.
Fox's Shannon Bream outside the court says the Trump administration will tell the justices
that sharp rising universal injunction stops the executive branch for performing its constitutional functions before any courts fully examine the merits of those actions.
Now, the other side argues
the universal injunction in this case preserves the uniformity of United States citizenship, an area in which nationwide consistency is vitally important.
President Trump is in the United Arab Emirates, getting another big welcome like in Saudi Arabia and Qatar, where before he left, the president held a rally with U.S. troops.
My trip is 4.5 days, but this is the one I was so looking forward because I'm with the people that I really love and respect.
The commander-in-chief got a big cheer when he told the troops at Al Udeid Air Base he plans to give them all pay raises. President Trump also said in Qatar that he hopes the U.S. is close to a nuclear deal with Iran, preferring that over the other way to prevent Iran from building nuclear weapons, military action.
The violence like people haven't seen before, and I hope we're not going to have to do this.
President Trump also says there will not be a ceasefire in Ukraine until he and Russian leader Vladimir Putin meet. The president saying because he did not go to Turkey today to hold talks with Ukraine's president, Putin did not go. Despite worry about Trump tariffs spiking inflation, wholesale prices dropped 0.5% last month from March. The annual inflation rate also declined to 2.4%. And we learned today that U.S. retail sales rose slightly last month, 0.1%. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Clouds and sunshine, a strong thunderstorm late this afternoon's high 89, an evening thunderstorm, then clearing tonight, low 62, and for tomorrow, a thunderstorm in spots in the afternoon, high Friday 89. I'm Andy Robb on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. This week on Capitol Hill is the best way to get informed on everything going on with Congress. Hosted by Tony Perkins and the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
We have a responsibility to get our country back on a sound fiscal trajectory. The Democrats, as I noted this morning, have said that we're going to gut Medicaid. It is not true.
Stay informed and become a regular listener. This week on Capitol Hill, Sundays at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
I'm an artist, and I'm in my studio. I listen to the radio all day, and I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor. And I've got pain in my neck, and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later, I've got much better range of motion. If you're experiencing pain at a certain point in life, I would get Relief Factor.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
Healthcare is complicated. It doesn't have to be. If you don't love how your health insurance works, maybe it's time to leave traditional health insurance behind. Take charge of your healthcare with Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM offers you flexibility. Enroll anytime, choose your own provider, and select the program that fits your needs and budget. CHM is the original faith-based way of taking care of your medical bill costs. Learn more at chministries.org/wellness.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. I've added another burner to my very large collection of defense products. Why? Because Burner just launched their new compact launcher, the smallest, most compact launcher to date, and I'll be taking it with me everywhere I go. It's the same size as a smartphone, allowing you to conceal carry comfortably and with confidence. It fires 400 feet per second with 41 joules per square inch of stopping power. The size is perfect for women who want protection but can't carry a firearm. It's equipped with tear gas and kinetic ammunition. It's designed to incapacitate an attacker for 30 to 40 minutes. And Burner is legal in all 50 states. There's no background check required. It can be shipped directly to your door. And Burner is trusted by hundreds of police departments and government agencies worldwide. And Burner is proudly American, each unit hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Visit byrna.com today, or you can simply try before you buy by finding a Burner dealer and a partner near you. That's byrna.com.
Frontal Max Vex Delando.
Why are you dressed like a wizard?
Because the Brooklyn cabinet at Penny Mustard reminds me of the hallowed halls of a faraway magical campus.
That curved top is pretty enchanting.
Curvalosa Wizmundo.
And with all the configurable options, you get to work your magic.
Configurabulus Maximus.
The bewitching Brooklyn cabinet. American-made with locally sourced lumber and built to last for generations. Starting at $43.78 at Penny Mustard.
7 locations throughout Chicagoland.
PennyMustard.com.
Perhaps you're a collector. Or perhaps, all of a sudden, you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Sean Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions. With their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions, they have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. For this free information, call 800-422-1609, 800-422-1609, 800-422-1609, or simply visit godra.com.
When you can't trust the mainstream media, where do you turn? Get the answers from Mike Gallagher right now on AM 560. The Answer.
Portions of the following program may contain pre-recorded material.
He's the happy conservative warrior, Mike Gallagher, broadcasting across hundreds of radio stations nationwide and seen on your trusted conservative TV network, Salem News Channel. Here's Mike.
Gosh, it feels good to be an American right now, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel great to see all the success that we're having? Right now, the Supreme Court has begun hearing arguments about the enforcement of nationwide injunctions. These are lower court judges trying to usurp the Trump agenda. And this is a big, big deal. This is huge. What's happening now before the Supreme